Hello. Hey. Hello, guys. Welcome back from your summer break. How was it? I'm just kidding. Today starts summer break, yeah? It starts summer break for me at least. Today is my first day. My first Monday of no work. I'm excited. Hey. Hey. Oh, you guys aren't saying hi. Hello. Say hi back, please. Hello. How are you? Oh, hey, Panda. Hey. How are you? How you doing? How you been? I've been sick, so I am still losing my voice a little bit. I hope you guys don't mind too much that I sound a little raspy, but you're used to raspy Cyan because I'm raspy most of the school year, so it's not. I'm sure y'all like, Cyan, do you even sound different? Yeah, you're right. This is how I talk when I'm teaching. What do you think of the Tartan Army in America? I don't know what that means, but hey, I don't know what that means. But hey, how are you? All right. It's been a while since we talked. The school year's over. So I wanted to do a stream where I did a school year review, where I talk about everything that happened this school year, the good things that happened in the school year, and the bad thing, from student behaviors. Talk about student behaviors. Talk about how my kids did academically. How do I think I did as a teacher? I wanted to do it. I thought it'd be fun to talk about all the things that happened this year. Well, I guess it's not much of having things that happened. It's less of saying things that happened this year and more of just like what I can remember, because I don't remember a lot. I'm not gonna lie. You teach a lot of kids every year. You don't remember everything they said and everything they do. I have heavy amnesia when it comes to talking about the kids, because one incident that you might think is crazy is like another Tuesday for me, so it's hard for me to be like, oh my god, this crazy thing happened. The craziest thing that happened that I can remember was my first year teaching, which was 3 years ago, when a kid he put a paper clip in an outlet. That was my first year. It was actually my first month of my first year teaching, so I didn't know what to do at all. I ran to my mentor, like, what do I do? His finger's burnt. Hey, the kid burned his finger in the first month of my teaching ever. Isn't that crazy? So I guess I would start by talking about my first school year. Yeah, because my first school year was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. What we learning, we're just talking about how this school year went compared to the other school years, right? I don't talk about my first school year as much, because this is my third year teaching. I haven't talked about my first year much this year. Basically, so that you have a baseline to compare how I'm doing now versus then. My first year was a wreck. I had so many special need kids in my class, but because I have never taught before at the time, it was my first year, I didn't know what to do with them. So my kids were just constantly going crazy in my classroom. You keep asking me that question, DVT, and I have no opinion. I don't know. I don't know how they're doing or how I feel. There's just people here. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's my opinion. There's more people here. That's pretty cool. I didn't it was my first year teaching, so I really didn't know how to deal with all the behaviors I had. But I had such lovely kids my first year. I had a kid who would constantly steal things. He was a little kleptomaniac. He literally would constantly steal anything that you left out. If the kids left something on their table, he would take it. If I left something on my desk when I wasn't looking, he literally would sneak up to my desk and take it, because things would go missing. If I had a piece of candy, for example, and I put it on my table because I was gonna eat it, if I left it there, it'd be gone. Like that's how he was. And then but by the end of the year, that kid became a little gentleman. And I heard from his second grade teacher that he's doing a really good job now and that he's still a little gentleman. So I love to hear that. Hey, Dwell! May I ask what subject do you teach? I'm a kindergarten teacher, so I teach all subjects. So I have my same little class all day for 7 hours. Isn't that lovely? I have them all day. I had this kid my first year. Yeah, you're still subscribed. Whoops, I guess. I had this kid in my first year. He was a sweet boy. So sweet. I loved him. But he was, we're not really sure. I think he was autistic, but he wasn't formally diagnosed with anything, so he can only assume. But he used to talk to his hands in the beginning of the year. Like literally, he would make puppets with his hands, and all day long, he would make noises and talk at his puppets. All day long. Like he wouldn't be saying anything. He would just make noises at his hand puppets. And he had to sit by himself because if I tried to sit him with someone else, the other kids would think it's funny that he was playing with the hand puppets all day and they would play with him and it became a whole mess. And he couldn't focus on anything. But by the end of the year, he was like he was in the zone by the end of the year. So it was so good. So one thing about kindergarten that I love, right? Which again, I am teaching kindergarten again next year. I got it confirmed last week. I asked the principal. She said, yes, I will be kindergarten. Because for those you don't know, we don't get a choice in which grade level we're going to teach. Like at the end of the year, the principal goes, you're going to teach this grade and you're going to like it. So I got kindergarten again and I was grateful because I don't want to teach any other, maybe first grade, but nothing outside of kindergarten, first grade. Nothing outside of kindergarten, first grade, because I love kindergarten. My favorite thing about kindergarten and why I don't want to teach other grades is because when kids first come into kindergarten, they're babies. And what I mean by that is like, yeah, they're kind of big now, so they're able to do a lot of things by themselves. But a lot of them have never had the opportunity to do things by themselves. They've only ever been with their parents, which means if their parents were like, let's say their parents were too controlling and you had to ask for permission to do everything, then that kid's gonna come into the classroom and bring that in the classroom. You had to ask for permission. Like they are, by that age, they are 100% a product of their parents. They have not developed their own unique. Most of them, at least, there are a few that just like oddballs, but most of them haven't developed any like unique like stuff. All right. So if parents too controlling, kid's gonna be asking you a million questions all day long. If the parent is not controlling enough and they just let them do whatever they want, then the kid's gonna come to the classroom thinking they could do whatever they want. Like they are 100% a product of their parents' teaching by that point. So which means in the beginning of the year, you get a lot of babies, right? You got a lot of kids who come in throwing tantrums because you said no to them getting a piece of candy, pulling away from you and screaming because you said no, it's not time to play on the playground yet. Like in the beginning of the school year, in the beginning of the school year, these kids are literally babies. It's the best way to describe them. They're also wetting themselves a lot in the beginning because going to the bathroom by myself is scary, is what some of the kids say, because some parents take them to the bathroom and go in there with them every time they have to go to the bathroom, so they get to kindergarten and they can't go by themselves. It's a whole thing. So they're literal babies in the beginning. They're throwing tantrums, they're falling out on the floor, they're stomping their feet, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're running away from you when they can't get their way. And then by the end of the year, hey Gabriel, by the end of the year, they are such distinguished little babies. They're little babies, but now they're bigger and way more distinguished now. Thanks for the subscribe, Joel. Almost 2 years. It's insane, friend. Yeah, but by the end of the year, these kindergartners are like distinguished little men, little ladies and gentlemen is the best way I can call it, because by the end, they're like cleaning up after themselves. They're a lot more independent. They can do things on their own. They stop asking you for everything. They start doing things themselves. You start to look around the classroom and see kids take initiative. Like, you know, you see a kid spill something on the floor. In the beginning of the year, if they spill something on the floor, they look at you shocked and scared, like you are gonna beat them up because they like made a mess, which I'm sure some parents do, like scream at the kid every time they mess up something, right? So in the beginning of the year, kids make a mess, they freeze and they go, and they look at you and they're like, what is she gonna do? And I'm like, it's okay, just clean it up, right? Just get a paper towel. You spilled something, get a paper towel, clean it up, and then we'll go back over it with the wipe, you know? And they're like, oh, it's not bad if we make messes. So then by the end of the year, they make a mess, and then they're like, okay, time to go clean it. And you see them spring into action instantly. And I love those changes. I do. It's why I love kindergarten as my favorite year, because they're so different at the end than they are at the beginning, because they come in as babies and they leave as little ladies and gentlemen. I love it so much. Or like the kids in the beginning, some kids in the beginning, they don't even know their colors. Like they don't know how to count. They don't know any letter of the alphabet. They don't know their colors. So then they come at the end of the year. Sorry, I'm still sick, y'all. They come at the end of the year and they're reading. They're reading at the end of the year. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, kindergarten's my favorite grade level. I hope I can teach them every single year. I do. Hey CJ, I hope I can teach them every single year. Be happy the first thing I did when I woke up was come here. Hey, well, good morning. I love that. Good morning. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna cough. Hold on. Sorry, I'm still sick. I gotta cough to clear my throat a bit. I got sick on the last day of work, which was Thursday. So I'm going to assume that it was my kids' way of saying, don't forget about me, Miss Cyan. And they gave me one last sickness before the road. So I'm still sick. I'm still losing my voice a little bit. My voice came back mostly yesterday and it's mostly here today. Still a little raspy and it still kind of hurts to talk, but we're good. What about first grade? First grade's okay. They don't change nearly as drastically as kindergarten does, but they do change a lot in first grade. In first grade, they don't come in as baby like they do in kindergarten, but they do come in... Squirrel! No one ever redeems the squirrel. I'll be forgetting I had it. Goodness gracious. God, what was I talking about? I hate that redeem. I hate it. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, first grade. Yeah, first grade doesn't change. They don't change as much as they do in, like, kindergarten. But by the beginning of first grade, they're the same as they were in the kindergarten, right? They're, like, distinguished little ladies and gentlemen. So they're a lot more independent. But by the end of second grade, the kids really start to come into their own personalities. But in the first grade, I've noticed. But in the first grade, they start to mellow out a bit, so they're no longer like little balls of energy bouncing off the walls like they are when they're 5 years old in kindergarten. By the end of first grade, I've noticed like they're a lot more mellow, they're a lot calmer, but their personalities are starting to shine. So they're starting to talk a lot more, a lot frequently, a lot louder, and about a lot more things. And they also are able to have their own opinions. Because fun fact, in kindergarten, these kids do not have their own opinions. It kind of drives me insane. They do not have their own opinions in kindergarten. They just agree with pretty much anything their friend or person next to them will say. Like, I could say my favorite color is pink. And the entire class would say, me too, me too, me too. Even though you're like looking at some of these kids and I'm like, no, your favorite color is red. Your favorite color is purple. Like you told me these things, you know? But in kindergarten, they don't want to have their own personalities. They're like little hive minds, you know? They just want to be agreeable. They just want to agree with everybody. And they will tell constant lies to be agreeable in kindergarten. And it's kind of weird. Like, we'll watch, like, a slime video at the end of the day to unwind sometimes. And it'll be, like, random, like, unique rainbow and colorful slime. And every single time I put it on, no matter which class it is, no matter if it's my first year's class, second year, or this is my third year, or this is my third year class, I will put on that slime video, and those kids will go, I have that slime, me too, me too, me too. And the entire class will go, me too, me too. And I'm like, I know full well not every single person in this class got rainbow slime just hanging out at home, you know? But the kids at kindergarten, they just want to agree with you. Like, no matter what. They will lie about the most basic stuff just so that they can agree with you. And then sometimes I'll call them out on it. I'll be like, hey, your favorite color is not pink like mine. Your favorite color is red. And they'll be like, and then they'll go, oh yeah. And that's how they respond to that. How are you doing today? I'm doing good. I'm not working anymore. So I woke up at 10 o'clock, ate some food, and set up stream and said, all right, I'm gonna start streaming now because I'm a full-time streamer this summer. That doesn't mean I'm gonna stream I'm a full-time content creator. That doesn't mean I'm gonna stream more frequently. I'm still gonna only stream about 3 times a week. But that does mean that I will be editing, like clipping shorts, editing them so I can upload a bunch to TikToks and other platforms. I'll be working on my YouTube videos because I do want to get my YouTube started. So yeah, I'm gonna be a full-time content creator this summer, guys, by the way. So no more frequent streams. I'm not gonna beat myself up and stream 5 times a week, because when I did that in the past, my stream quality dipped bad. Like, I didn't have anything to talk about because I was streaming like every single day. So by that point, I was getting burnt out of streaming. I didn't have anything to talk. Like, it was quantity over quality. Now these days I go for quality over quantity. I stream less, but as a result, I have way more to talk about and way more fun things to do. Will you be able to join VC more? Probably. Don't expect me to join like this week. But probably next week. At some point in the summer, I don't have friends, right? I don't have friends. And Kotaru goes off to work. So at some point in the summer, I start getting very lonely. And I need my social aspects. I need my social life to be met. I mean IRL friends. I mean like friends that I can leave the house and like go out and hang out with them. Those type of friends. I don't have IRL friends. I don't have anybody I can leave the house and hang out with. So at some point during the summer, I do start wanting to be more social. So I will probably end up joining the Discord, yes. The reason I don't do it during the school years as much is because since my job is so social, like I am constantly talking to kids, to coworkers all day long. By the time I get home, I don't want to talk to anybody after that. So the summer I start being social again because I'm not talking to kids 24/7. So yes, you will probably see me in the Discord. Yeah, it's the kids be wearing me down, man. Before I was a teacher, when I was in college, I lived in VC. But after becoming a teacher, and dealing with kids yapping in my ear 24, nah, homie, I can't come home and talk after that. I gotta sit in silence and unwind. Alright. I do. I'm also working on talking slower. I don't know if you noticed today I've been careful with my speech because I have a tendency to talk faster than the words can come out, so that I trip over my words or I say things I don't mean to say. And we're gonna stop doing that. We're gonna put a stop to that this summer. All right, I have all the time in the world to focus on me and improving myself. That is one thing I'm going to focus on. I told Kotaru that anytime I start talking too fast and I start tripping up on my words because of it, and I start sounding like gibberish, to just cut me off and ask me to start again. I told him that, and I'm going to keep reminding him to do that because it's not just on my streams that it bothers me with, because I will go back and watch the VOD of a stream and listen to how much gibberish I say because I'm talking too fast. Not only does that happen often, but when I'm teaching, it happens too. Where I'm speaking so fast that I'm tripping over my words and my kids are like, huh? What are you asking us to do? And I'm like, sorry. So I need to talk slower, not only for the sake of my streams, but also for the sake of my job. So I'm going to worry about talking slower. Slower. Kotaru likes your voice? He does. He does. I'd hope so. I did get married. What's good? Everything's good now that you're here, friend. Everything's good. So yeah, I'm gonna talk slower. Oh, also, you guys like my updated rigging? I don't know if anyone's noticed, but my rigging's different today. I got Leonard to edit my model. The mouth movements are different. It's a lot more fluid. It's a lot more nice when I speak. So I love that. I love that. I love that. There was some like funnel thing going on like with my like my lips when I was talking before, and I asked Leonard if he could get rid of it. He said yes. Also, my head movements are a bit different now too. I got a facelift, guys. Girlfriend says she likes your goofy laugh. I hope so. She is your girlfriend. That is like their job. Your girlfriend's job is to like at least bare minimum to like your face, to like your voice and your laugh. That's the bare minimum. Been practicing animation more, having fun? Yes! I hope you enjoy it. Oh, Lord. I hate streaming while I'm sick. I was supposed to go to the dentist today. You know, I think I have a cavity. I have bad teeth problems. I was supposed to go to the dentist today, but since I'm still sick and coughing, I had it moved. So I'm going to the dentist on Thursday. Hopefully all my teeth don't fall out by then. I got a tooth that hurts and I'm scared. You want to do streaming as a hobby? To earn some extra money? Oh, I'm gonna stop you there though. You can do streaming as a hobby for like fun, but going into streaming with the idea that you want to make money, that you're going to make money, makes it a little more difficult because it takes forever to start making money off of streaming. Like forever. And I mean it. Unless you get like one super fan, because when you're a streamer, you're on Twitch and on YouTube, your income is solely based on the people watching you that are willing to give you money. Oh, hey, Aries! Thanks for the raid! Hi! That's crazy. Our streams are overlapping. Shouldn't you be asleep? Hey, how are you? Guys, I'm a teacher dog. Today we were supposed to be talking about my school year and how the school year ended. I've been talking about other stuff. But hey, Aries, how you been? What were you streaming? What were you doing? I was talking, someone said that they wanted to make money off of streaming. So I was talking about, how it takes a long time to make money off a stream. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, because it does, right? People do make money off of streaming, but it can take a really, really long time, because especially if Twitch is your main platform, Twitch is 100% reliant on... Your income from Twitch is 100% reliant on people who follow you subscribing to you. Which means that sometimes you will get a lot of followers, a lot of viewers, but they're not willing to subscribe for different reasons. Like sometimes they just don't have the money for it. You know, sometimes they don't have the money for it. Sometimes depending on your demographic, you could be talking to a lot of maybe teenagers or high schoolers or college students. They're not going to have money. Like Twitch income is difficult. It's hard to make money off of Twitch because you're reliant on other people giving you money. Twitch, this platform itself, does not give you money like that. Yes, you get ad revenue, but take it from me, my channel has grown a lot in the past year. I tend to average, after every stream, I have between 500 and 1,000 unique views. That's how many people at least clicked on my channel while I was live, when I do my just chatting streams at least. And in a month, I only make $6 to $10 off of ads. All the other revenue I get comes solely from people who are willing to subscribe to me. And so it's hard to make money off of Twitch. And that's me. That's after I've streamed for like, I've been streaming for 5 years. I was streaming for 5 years, and I have probably about 10 people who consistently subscribe to me, which only translates to about $20-something a month. So going into streaming with like the sole purpose of making money is very difficult. It can be disheartening. My tail is distracting. No, I'm being serious. I'm being a serious dog right now. When I first went into streaming, I went into streaming with the mindset of wanting to have fun. I wanted to have fun, and I wanted, at the time, I've said it many times on my stream, so my older people would know, but at the time when I first started streaming, my anxiety was running rampant in my life. I had just given up many like opportunities and things I really wanted to do because I was nervous and I had anxiety. Like I was like, oh, I really want to do this, but that would make me nervous, so I'm not going to do that. And I was so mad at myself at that time because I was constantly passing up opportunities because of my anxiety. And I got tired of that. I was mad. I was like, come on, Cyan. Every time you want to do something, you stop yourself from doing it. And you missed out on so many things in your life just because you were nervous. Like you wanted to do this, but you didn't. So I wanted to become a VTuber. But VTubing makes me nervous, right? Being in front of people talking like this, that made me super nervous. Super nervous. So I decided to continue streaming anyways. I was like, this is fun. And I just gave up an opportunity because I was nervous. I'm not giving this one up either. So for me, the most PG way I can say it is I started streaming as a middle finger to anxiety. Is the best way I like to word it. That's why I started streaming. I'm be real. And I think it worked out pretty well. Now I enjoy it here. At some point in my streaming career, I started to get like upset because my channel wasn't growing like I wanted it to. And I started like getting upset about everything. I was like, oh my gosh, not enough people are chatting. Not enough people are clicking on stream. Not enough people. And I was getting really irritated. And at the end of the day, I just kind of realized, you know, at the end of the day, I'm always here for fun, you know. I'm here to enjoy myself. I'm not here for the numbers. Numbers are nice. Yes, they are lovely. But no, I'm not here for the numbers. I used to be. There was a time where I was like very driven by like numbers and trying to make sure that this needs to stay as this and that needs to stay as that. I ain't worried about that no more. It was too stressful. When I started doing all that, streaming stopped becoming fun. So I mean, you can make money from streaming though, like I was saying initially, but I don't think it's best to go into streaming with the thought process of I want to make money. You know what I mean? It's very expensive. It's £1 for a packet of Smarties. You have any big dreams at the moment this year you want to achieve? Well, my biggest dream would be to make Twitch partner, but that's not happening. I guess my biggest dream for this year would be to get my YouTube to take off. I do like streaming. Bye, Axe. Thanks for stopping by. I do enjoy streaming, but I don't like streaming as much as I've noticed that other people do. Right? Some people love streaming. They stream all day, every day. They stream all day, every day for like 5 days a week. And even during the summer now, I have a lot of free time. I'm not doing that. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I've learned in the past year that I do enjoy making a lot of offline content. Sorry, I'm still sick, so you hear me sniffle a little bit. I do enjoy making a lot of offline content, so my goal this year would be to put out the YouTube videos that I want to put out. I love writing scripts and recording the script. I don't like editing. Oh, I hate editing. The reason my Kirby video has not dropped yet is because I'm so dragging with the editing. I cannot stand editing. But God, do I love scripting out a story and recording it. I love script writing. I love recording videos. But God, do I hate editing them. It's so terrible. What do you mean I have to sit down for hours and listen to myself say the fun speech and fun writing that I came up with? I have to listen to myself over and over and over again while compiling footage and adding transitions, adding subtitles. I can't stand it. Like, I love script writing. I love reading the scripts. I love writing the scripts, but God, can somebody else edit my stuff, please? And then you look at the price to get people to edit, and you're like, man, maybe it's best if I edit it myself after all, because it's like $100 for one video. And who has $100? I'm a teacher. I don't got $100. Hey, Candid, how are you? Saying I've had some opportunities that were handed to me and I regret it. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I feel like coming from someone with bad ADHD and OCD, it's hard to make new stuff. It wasn't until last year I decided to take myself more seriously. But still, sometimes it's good to get out of your comfort zone once in a while. Yeah! Yes! Get out of your comfort zone! Welcome to Puppy Academy. You're blissful? Oh, I love that word. They're quite blissful. I guess I would say I'm feeling quite blissful today, but I'm not. I'm a little sad today. Today was my first day. My first Monday since the school year ended. And I do love streaming, and I do love having all the free time in the world. I get 2 months to do whatever. But I miss my kids. I miss my kids. I do. I went on a honeymoon to Japan this year in April, and I was gone away from my kids for 2 weeks. And I remember before I even got on that plane, I was constantly thinking, well, does the sub have everything ready? Will she be okay taking care of the kids? Will my kids be okay if I'm not there for a week? For 2 weeks. Like, when I missed my kids when I was on a honeymoon to Japan. Like, if I was going to miss my kids on a honeymoon to Japan, of course I'm missing my kids now in the summer. Like, I literally woke up sad today, and I was like, why am I sad? And then I realized today is the first Monday without my kiddos. It's summer break, so like, I don't know, it's pretty bittersweet. Like, I'm like, yeah, I get to stream. I can finish scripting out some more things. Hey, Vol. I can script out some more content. I can finish editing my video. I can get a bunch of shorts going. I can stream more and longer. Now I'm not on a time limit, because before, once I reached a certain time limit for my streams, I had to end it because I gotta go, you know? I'm not on a time limit anymore. I can stream for as long as I want, but my babies, you know? I'm not going to be able to see them until the end of August. I also miss my paycheck, you know? I'm unemployed. I'm a 10-month employee, all right? My last paycheck was in May, and my next paycheck was in August. I do still work in June. Obviously, my last day was this past Friday. But what they do, since June, you work for only like the first half of the month. In August, we only work for the second half of the month. They combine your work hours for your work days for June and your work days for August so that you can get a full paycheck when it comes September. So the work I do in June, I don't get paid for that until literally September. So your girl has no money. Your girl has zero income. All of my spending money for the summer will come from Twitch. So whatever money I make on Twitch will be what I can spend during the summer. Which is not a bad thing. I do tend to make at least a little bit on Twitch. So welcome to the unemployment land. Yeah! I have a personal artist, and they make me a cool art, and now they are making me some PNG assets for streaming. Hey, that's cool. Oh, you spent all your money on pups? I'm sorry, did you buy it? Did you get a new puppy? Or like, was it an existing puppy? Am I missing some lore? Hello? Spend Kotaru's money? I'm married. Kotaru's money is my money. I'm married. We have joint income, joint bank accounts. I can't spend his money because that's also my money. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a sick girl. My prior message, I've been motivated by a mysterious source to spread positivity throughout Twitch. And I'm offering you some positivity in the form of compliments. Would you or your chat? Of course! Yeah! We love some good compliments and some positivity. That's what we're all about. Positivity, yes. You got cheese? Yeah. Cheese to go on your chicken sandwich? You got 2 new 2-year-old babies? Oh, what can I have? I want a puppy, but Kotaru won't let me. Well, I don't... Do I want to talk about that now? I was going to talk about my dog, but that's kind of a sad topic. She's old, so she's getting kind of... she's becoming immobile. Her hind legs are starting to give out on her, so she's kind of old. So I ain't got much to talk about there. She can't really do much anymore. So it's really interesting. Her hind legs got bad really fast in a short period of time. Like, she first started yeah, Shadow's not doing too hot right now. She first started, like, her hind legs, like, something about the vet said something about what's the word? A disc in her lower back is like messed up. It's been like that since she was a puppy. She's always had hind leg problems. Oh, my glasses redeem is broken today. I'm so sorry. I can give you your points back. My glasses redeem is broken today. But yeah, her hind legs are hurting. I don't know if they hurt her or if it's just hard for her to walk on it. I'm not sure. The vet's not sure. She hasn't acted like she's in pain. More so like her legs are weak than anything. So yeah, she went from walking really good in January to kind of stumbling a bit in like March to now hardly being able to go up some stairs. So no, she's not a greyhound. She's a German Shepherd. She's an all-black German Shepherd. But this is something, it's not necessarily a surprise. She's had hind leg problems since she was a puppy. Like, when we first got her, she had trouble walking, and we had to give her lots of exercise so she could get used to walking on her back legs. She's always had problems with her back legs. It's just now that she's old, it's starting to like really, really show. So it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. You get bone cancer after 9? No, she's 10. She's 10 years old, I believe. But yeah, she's okay though. She's okay. She's still like the embodiment of health. It's just her legs. Everything else about her is fine. She still tries to run around like a little puppy. It's just her legs, and you know, her legs. It ain't gonna kill her. You know, she's fine. It's just her legs are bothering her. We gonna have to make a makeshift wheelchair at home. That's all I could think of. I bet you probably could make her own too. Put some little beams together, buy some little tiny wheels, and let her, you know, let it go. Man, be on the go. But arts and craft, yeah, time to do some arts and craft during my summertime. During my summer, I have all summer to do some arts and craft for my baby. But other than that, she's doing okay. Like you would. Honestly, if it wasn't for her legs starting to bother her, you would not know she was 10 years old. Because before her legs were bothering her in like around December or something, she was like the embodiment of youth. Like, she was literally like running around, zooming air. Like, you would not, if she wasn't having trouble with her hind legs, she would be running around like a little puppy. So she is a healthy girl. She is healthy. All right. It's just her legs. She's had problems since she was a puppy, so it's not a surprise. Anyways, how did we start talking about that? Oh yeah, because Will Blossom says she got some new puppies. I want a new puppy. I do. I want a puppy because Shadow, sad to say, she is running out of time. And I was talking to Kotaru about getting a puppy in the future. Not now, because, you know, Shadow's still around. But when the day comes, I was like, would we be able to get another puppy? And Kotaru said no. I was like, what do you mean no? He was like, I want to be dog free for a while. Excuse you? You want to be dog free for a while? I am a dog. Like, hello? You gonna be free of me next? Huh? And he's like, no, you're the only dog I deal with. And I'm like, that's crazy. This is what happens when you marry a dragon, guys. This is what happens when you marry a dragon. He don't want no more dogs in the house. He said, you are enough. I love the positivity vibe. That is a crime. I was like, are you sure? Like, you know, maybe one day you can surprise me on my birthday. Be like, surprise, there's a puppy. And he was like, I think puppy surprises are the worst type of birthday gifts. And I was like, why? And he was like, because you're basically gifting somebody a lot of responsibility if you gift them a puppy. And I'm like, what if I want the responsibility though? And he's like, no. This is the conversation that we had with him. We used to go visit. Wait, let me say that sentence slower. See, I think I was talking too fast. These are the conversations I be having with him. You see, I said that too fast. I'm trying to talk slower. Talk slower, Cyan. You need to enunciate. All right. We used to go to this like animal shelter every year. Not every year, but like pretty much once a month and pretty consistently. But I stopped going because it started making me sad because I would see all these cute little dogs and cats and I'd be like, Kotaru, can we have this one? And he'd look at me and be like, no, we can't have any of them. And I'm like, take me out of here, man. So I don't like going to that place anymore because it makes me a sad girl. It makes me a sad girl. I don't want to be a sad girl. My first babies I got. Oh, that's cute. You and your co-parenting. Hey, Rabbit! Get a kitty. I can't. I do have allergies to pets. And I'm allergic, fun fact, to cats and dogs. But I noticed it seems to be a lot less with certain types of dogs. So I do want a hypoallergenic dog in the future. I would like a hypoallergenic dog. Which is going to cost more because a lot of the hyperallergenic dogs are the small cutesy dogs that like everybody have. Like think of like a Bichon Frise and like a miniature Schnauzer and a Shih Tzu. Those type of dogs are hypoallergenic, so it's probably going to cost an arm and a leg. But I would like a hypoallergenic dog. Yes, I'm allergic to dogs and I'm a dog. Got a problem with that? Sometimes I sniff my tail. Sometimes I sniff my tail a little too much and I start sneezing, you know? Sometimes my own dog fur gets stuck in the pillows and then I can't sleep at night. What about a husky? Those are the opposite of hypoallergenic. I would know I am a husky. We are not hypoallergenic. We shed 24/7. Shedding is really intense. I know. I'm okay. Only one husky now. You know, when Kotaru said he only wants one dog and that's me, I'm the same. I'm the same way when it comes to husky. Only one husky in the house, and that's gonna be me. Sorry. I want to be the only husky here. Okay, only me. Only me. Only me. Looking at shelters makes me sad. Is how we end up with two. Oh, see, the shelter I go to is one of those type of. It's not like a shelter. It's one of those like non-profit organizations where they like take in the pets and they are 100% like no kill. So like if I go in there and a dog doesn't get adopted like immediately, you know they're going somewhere good, you know. So I like going that place. I do. Now going to like a shelter, oh no, that would make me sad. If you ever go to like a shelter, like a normal shelter, it's like all pit bulls. All pit bulls, and those dogs all got time limits on their heads. I can't go there. But then I go to the nonprofit place and they're really nice. So they find foster parents for the pets too. For the ones who don't end up getting adopted, they find little foster pets for the foster parents until they get adopted. So it's quite nice. It's quite nice. I like that little place. I do. Yeah, I do want a dog. I can't get a cat because my mom is deathly allergic to cats. Getting a cat means that my mom is no longer allowed to come into my house, and I don't really want that Kotaru wants a cat so bad. He does. But I'm like, I want my parents to be able to stop by and visit. You know, it's sad. As much as I would love to have a cat too, because I love animals, but I'm like, I want my parents to be able to visit, and if there's a cat in the house, my mom cannot enter. Like, like her allergies for cats is that bad. It's that bad. It's literally that bad. Like, her throat will close up after being in that room. If she's in a room with a cat for even 5 minutes, her throat will close up. She can't be in there. Mine was a non-profit, non-killed too. It's just so sad. Still, they were telling us about these dogs and they were sick and I was sobbing. My girls are a bonded pair and we're having a hard time finding a home. Oh, they were bonded? So you got them, they were like, were they like in the little cage together? And like smiling at you and stuff, you know? Why are your parents visiting you more than you visit them? Because they live, 5 to 6 hours away and I don't like driving. That's why. I'm also living in their home. They're renting their home out to me. I'm living in their home. I'm living in there. I don't own this house. They do. Now they're going to sell this house to me and Kotaru this summer. The house is going up for sale. They said probably next month is their goal. So they're going to come. They have to come down. They keep coming to this house because they have to make sure this house is sellable. Like, yes, they're selling it to us, but they're not going to like sell us a rundown house. So they're coming down to fix major issues the house has to make sure that the house is in a sellable condition when they sell it to us, basically. So I see my dad all the time. My dad's coming back next weekend. Like, there's a lot of problems with this house that like just doesn't make it sellable right now. Like the room, for example, that I have, the room that we have our desk and stuff set up in, the wall is peeling. Like there is a big area on the wall that is separating itself. Like the wall is actively separating itself. You can't sell a house like that. So my dad has to get that fixed. Hey Doggo, thanks for the subscribe again. I appreciate it. The windows in the house are not very sealed, so a lot of noise gets through them. Again, that's not very sellable, so he has to come down here, hire somebody to fix it, make sure they fix it up good. There's a lot of little things that have to get fixed before the house can go up on the market, basically. That, and also, because they're selling it to me, their daughter, they're fixing extra stuff too that they don't have to fix, you know? Like they're talking about they want to remodel. They're going to remodel the bathroom. They already replaced all of our appliances, so they gave us a new fridge. We got a new dishwasher. They're giving us a lot of stuff before they sell it to us. They are not selling the house at a discount though. They are selling the house for full price, but they are at least hooking us up with the stuff inside the house to make sure everything inside is new and up to par and not broken. Is cyan your favorite color? No. No. My favorite colors are my design. Pink, purple, and blue. Those are my favorite colors. Cyan, no. My favorite shade of blue, I like turquoise blue a lot. The reason my name is Cyan is because I tend to name things based off of a color. So when I had to make my channel name, I had blue hair and I was like, oh, I'll just be called Blue. But I was like, blue doesn't really sound feminine enough. Like, that's not really a feminine name. So I'm going to call myself Cyan because Cyan sounds a lot more girly than Blue does. And then I was like, but it doesn't sound girly enough, all right? What's girlier than Cyan? And I was like, oh, I know. If you add Ika at the end of a name, it makes it sound girly, like Jessica, right? So I said Cyan-Ika. And now I'm the girliest shade of blue there is, right? I'm the girliest shade of blue. And that's all a girl could ever ask for. Hey, Fred, how are you? I hope you achieve your dreams too, Bob. Take the bus if you're scared of driving. This is America. You want me to take the bus and not drive? I don't know. That's a little scary. I've never taken the bus before. I don't even know where the buses go, and the buses definitely don't go far enough to where I can go to a complete different state and go visit my parents 5 hours away. The bus ain't gonna take you that far. The bus gonna take you to the Walmart and then back home. If anything, I could take a train, but because trains are so infrequent in America, a 5-hour drive would turn into like a 10-hour train ride because the train goes to a million different areas before it gets there. Honestly, the fastest thing would be a plane, but even then, I don't like planes either. So I just won't go anywhere. Hey, Kaida, don't take the bus, or you'll be stuck in a terminal for 7 hours waiting for the bus. Yeah. In America, take the bus. That's like last resort. Like I had no other method of going anywhere, and I had to get on the bus. You know, and even by then, I'd probably just get a bike and start biking places. Like I don't know. You don't have intercity and city-to-city buses? I don't know anything about that. I've never heard of anybody taking. And I mean, if I did, it would take forever to get to my parents. I mean, they are cities and they're states away. You know, and I guess it's gonna be a 24-hour bus day for me. Hey, Robbie, it's not including delays on the tracks and if the crews have a shift change. Oh, yeah. That's one thing I admired about Japan when I visited Japan. I really, really love the transportation. I did. I loved that I could just walk anywhere and then hop on a train and get to any part of the city. It was so nice. It was so nice. Like, it's one thing I miss so much because I was in the best physical shape of my life in Japan because I had to walk. Good night, Ravi. I had to walk. I was walking 10,000 steps every single day minimum. And I was feeling good for it. When I got back home to America, I just constantly wanted to walk. Like, I constantly wanted to stay moving because I was used to walking so much. Like, but living in America doesn't really promote movement. So like, I slowly just went back to being sedentary again because like, where am I going to walk? I can't walk to like, I can't walk to like stores and stuff. I mean, I could, but there's no sidewalks. There's no sidewalks, and there's a big old woods that you would have to kind of walk through because the sidewalk ends in the woods. Like there's no good place to walk, even if I wanted to walk to the places nearby, you know? And then like my job requires a lot of standing, but it doesn't nowhere near requires walking 10,000 steps. Like there's just no opportunities to walk in America. City to city trains and buses, and they are decent. No one cares. No care for civilians. It's terrible. What is a levy? What is a levy? A levy? What's a levy? Do you not have a levy? No, I don't have a levy. The glasses redeem is broken today, guys. I'm so sorry. Wait. I'm so sorry. Wait. Okay, wait. My glasses redeem is broken because I updated my model, and because VTube Studio kind of updated recently, I don't know. I took my glasses off for stream. I don't know how to put them back on. I tried. Can you get your stuff back? Of course you can get your refund. Guys, someone refund him. Doggo refund the glasses from Pain King and from I'll show when I go out. Okay, yeah, what's a levy? I own a banana for home defense since that's what the founding chimpanzees intended. Sure, why not? You know what I own for self-defense? It is a bat that's been passed down from generations, okay? My dad had a trusty bat that he would defend the house with. He named him Billy. It was Billy the Bat. It was this really fancy blue and black bat. And when my dad left, he said, I passed this bat on to you, Cyan. And now I have his house defense bat, and that is my self-defense weapon of choice. It's the baseball bat, the metal baseball bat that my dad gave me. That's what I use for home defense, is a metal baseball bat. I don't know, musket for home defense. Now, I'm not going to tell you what all of my defenses are. All right, we got some. I live in America. Let's be real. You best bet I'm going to have more than an actual baseball bat. But that's my weapon of choice. Now, Kotaru's a little different. This is America. Trust me. I got more than just a bat. But I'm letting y'all know about the bat that got passed down. You know, UK and America have very dangerous crimes. They do. They do. 4 ruffians break into my closet. What's the ape? As I grab the powder. A field of banana? They're gonna slip on bananas? That's your home defense? Also, ad break is happening like now. It's gonna be a 3-minute ad break. During this time, I'm gonna put on the be right back screen. I will see y'all in 3 minutes, okay? Twitch says no. I can't even delay the ads today. Twitch says no. So be right back. It's happening like right now. Hey, I came back. Sorry, I yelled. Sorry, I gotta stop doing it. I gotta stop yelling. Every time the be right back screen's over, I gotta stop yelling. I will say, I have been talking slower today, and it kind of feels nice. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting all my thoughts out. I feel like I'm enunciating properly, so you're understanding what my thoughts are. This is kind of nice. It's kind of hard for me to slow down because I talk so gosh darn fast, but this is kind of nice. Hey, stop talking about the crime in your countries. We're talking about wholesome things. Crime is not wholesome. Alright, yo. I'm going to continue talking about what I started talking about in the beginning of the stream. Like, I was talking about my school year and how the school year was going, and then we started talking about literally everything under the sun. I never finished talking about my year. And I had wrote a lot of things down for my just chatting streams for things I wanted to talk about for the school year. So I'm gonna pick up where I left off at. I talked about how I'm sad because today is Monday and no more kids today. Yeah. I talked about how, oh, my kids' grades have gotten so much better this year. All of my kids did so well. So because of kindergarten and how a lot of parents don't actually work with their kids during the summer like they promised they're going to do, my kindergartners at the beginning of this year, like every year, were in the red. Like they were considered well below grade levels because people think that kindergarten is you just play with blocks all day long and that there's no actual learning, and that is not true. And kindergarten is when they start learning about a lot of things. They learn how to add and subtract. They learn about, welcome to Puppy Academy. They learn how to add and subtract. They learn about 3D shapes. So they don't just learn about squares and rectangles. They learn about cubes and cylinders. Hey, Wolf! And a lot of cool things. So it's a lot different. But because parents think that kindergarten is still just a playtime, grade level, a lot of times kids come into kindergarten not knowing anything. Because parents think that the teachers aren't going to teach at all. So they don't know their colors sometimes. They don't know basic shapes. They don't know colors. A lot of kids can't even count, which I find baffling. Like, if your kid is 5 years old and you cannot count, and your kid can't count, at that point, I feel like you just don't even speak to your kid, because like we use counting like all the time in our daily life. Like I feel like it should have come up at least a few times to where your kids would pick up on counting. But no, a lot of kids come into school not being able to count. They don't know any letters, alphabet, no sounds. They can't count either. So in the beginning of the year, we do our first test. The test always says that they're well below grade level. Like most of your class is going to be like underperforming because they don't know anything. So then by the end of the year, you're trying to take these kids who know absolutely nothing and teach them how to read. And that's a big feat. That's a big thing to ask of somebody. Having a kid who can't even count and don't know don't know, and they, let me try that again. Taking kids from the beginning of the year who don't know how to count and don't even know anything about letters of the alphabet to the end of the year and being able to read. That is a big ask. But this year, it went so well. Usually by the beginning of the year, I have like, let's say if I have a class of 18, 13 of them don't know anything, right? By the end of the year, by the end of kindergarten, I usually have maybe like 7 kids who, you know, they can finally read. They're putting things together that didn't put them together in the beginning of the year, right? You are genuinely polite, and I bet you're a delight to have around. I hope you and your pets live a long and happy life. You can do anything you can put your mind to. I hope you end up being able to afford a lot of really cool accessories for your classroom. Thanks! I also hope your dog gets better. I would not recommend going near galleries, however, because, I mean this respectfully, you are a work of art, dude. I love that. I adore your model, and I hope your bed is always extra comfy. You're so kind, Bob. Bob, how are you this positive and this nice? Hello? I love that, Bob. I don't remember what I was talking about. What was I talking about? I was talking about kids and their grades. Oh yeah. So usually at the beginning of the year, I got a lot of kids who were in the red. Like if I had a class of 18, I'd have a good 13 kids who were just don't know anything. By the end of the year, you expect you're gonna have at least half of those kids who came in not knowing anything, knowing something. Well, I beat out my new record because in the beginning of the year, I had tested about 5 kids who were on grade level, and the rest of my 18 kids, the rest of the kids out of 18, so that's what, like about 13, yeah, the rest of the 13 kids were below grade level, right? At the end of this year, I only ended with 2 kids still well below grade level and 2 kids below grade level. So that's 4 kids who were underperforming this year, which is a crazy feat in my opinion. Like that's a crazy thing to happen. Cause like my teacher rating, because us teachers get like our own grade based on how kids improve. Based on how the kids improve, like if they meet their like growth targets, we get rated based off of that. My teacher rating is going to go insane this year because every single one of my kids, except for 2, met their growth goals. That means even if they were a kid who was well below in the beginning and still well below in the end, they still made a lot of growth within that frame to where they met their goals. Like when I was looking at the growth goals for my kids, it kept saying well above average, well above average, well above average, above average, well above average. Like when I tell you my scores went insane this year. Absolutely insane. I was like, oh my gosh. Like I expected my kids to do okay, you know? I expected the kids to do okay. I did not expect the kids to do nearly as well as they did on the test. It's also how I found out that the test is heavily weighted in one area. Because I had a kid that ended up performing on grade level at the end, who did terribly on all the tests except for one of them. The way the test works, it is a 5-minute test. Only 5 minutes because they're 5. I mean, it's only 5 minutes. It is a fluency test. And we base all of our scores on that. This fluency test, you give the kids 1 minute. And the first test is in 1 minute, they have to name as many letters as they can. So they have a page in front of them. It has like 100 random letters. It has 100 letters randomly placed, right? Just in a row, in a bunch of rows. And they have to go across the row and give you the name of the letters, like A, D, M, P, O, as fast as they can. That's the first test, right? Everything is fluency. It's about how fast they can do it. Not about what they know, but about how well they know it. So then the other test is, I say the word cat, you say at. I say the word ma, you say ah. And they have to tell me the sounds in as many words as I get them as fast as I can, as fast as they can. The next one, these are all 1 minute. The next one, I give them a list of nonsense words. So words that aren't real, that are just a bunch of letters mixed together, and they have to sound out those words. So it'd be like ooh, ah, lam, you know, stuff like that. Ooh, at, lat. They're nonsense words. That's a test. And then the last one is just red words. That's a real word. It's the real word test. Like and, the, is, to, where. Words like that. That's the test. There is one part of the test that it doesn't take 1 minute. It's a listening test. So they basically just repeat after me. I say, I am a dog. And they say, I am a dog. I say, her sister's dress was yellow. And they say, her sister's dress was yellow. Like that. That's the final test. That one's not weighted at all, though. That's not a part of their overall grade. It's just something we do for the kids. Just see where they're at when it comes to their listening skills, to be honest. By the way, that test is the worst test to give because you really realize how bad the kids' listening skills are when it's time to give that test. And I mean it. Like, you think it would be easy. All you have to do is say exactly what I say. That is the entire test. And 5-year-olds cannot do it. That test is failed by most of my kids. And it's really interesting how it works, because kids who are fluent in English, I teach a lot of kids who speak Spanish and a lot of kids who speak Hakachin. All right, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but a lot of kids who speak Hakachin. So the ones who speak English, they get the test wrong. A lot of times they get some stuff wrong because they start combining words. Like, I will say, the sandwich is going to be my lunch. And they will say, the sandwich is gonna be my lunch. And because they said gonna instead of going to, that marks the entire question wrong. Because they have to say what I say exactly how I say it. If I say, it is a nice day, and they say it's a nice day, that marks it completely wrong, because they did not repeat after me the right way. So my English speakers will mess up the test because they start combining words, because that's how they talk. I had a kid who said finna once instead of gonna. This sandwich is finna be my lunch. I said, girl, I did not say that. So my English speakers get it messed up because of that. My Spanish speakers get it mixed up because, I don't know, for those of you who have learned a new language, I have not, but from what I've seen, a lot of, as you're learning a language, the kids will start to make their own grammar. All right, they understand the words, but they have trouble with sentence structures. So they will make up their own grammar. They will change pronouns. So if I say she, he will say he. If I say him, they'll say her. They start swapping out words, and they will start swapping out words, and they'll start making up their own grammar. I could be like, he ate a sandwich for lunch. And they'll be like, she ate the sandwich for her lunch. And they'll just make, like, they'll add words and switch them up. And then my Asian student, that's my Hispanic students who speak Spanish. My Asian students, which in my school, most of the Asians in my class, they speak Hakachin at home, which I looked it up. I think that was a language spoken in Myanmar. I might be wrong though, don't quote me on that, because I never heard of Hakachin until this year, and I had 5 kids who spoke it. My Asian kids who spoke Hakachin, I noticed they omit certain words. For Myanmar, yeah, they take out certain things. Like, for example, I will say, the dress is yellow. And they will say the dress yellow. Like, they remove words. So my Hispanic kids who speak Spanish, they replace words and they flip pronouns and stuff. My Asian kids who speak Hakachin at home, they remove words. It's something I noticed. I thought was really interesting. So that test, all of my kids fail it. I got a lot of kids who don't speak English as their first language. So when they hear these sentences, they try to make sense of it before they repeat it back to you. And it was the whole thing. I feel like I was a nightmare for teachers. Why do you say that? I'm sure you were nice. Also, welcome to Puppy Academy, Moyo. Why did a character limit cut me off? And I was going to say before, for the hope that you are never sick. I'm sick right now, but thank you. Here to enjoy quality time with the people that you love. Hope that RaMe becomes a bigger VTuber group. Hope that you become more popular while still keeping such a lovely fan base. Hope your students treat you with much respect that they can. You're so sweet, Bob. You gotta be here yelling. I appreciate you a ton. I do. I am sick though. Let me see where Hakachin is. Where do people speak Hakachin? Because again, I had never heard of this language until this year. I had a lot of students who spoke it. And I found out quickly that Google Translate, which is what I use for parents when I'm speaking to Spanish-speaking parents, does not have a speaker button for Hakachin. Like there's no audio for it. So I can type it into translate and they can read what I put, but I can't press the little speaker button and it speaks to them. So let's see. Hakachin. Yeah, I was right. I said Myanmar. I was right. Myanmar. Hakachin spoken by 300,000 people, mostly in Myanmar. Yeah. I had never heard of that language until this year. I really hadn't. And then I had 5 kids who spoke it. Literally, all the Asian kids I had in my class spoke Hakachin at home. It was really interesting how that happened. Because usually you get quite a few different languages, but no, they all spoke the same thing. Found a fellow teacher that's a VTuber? Heck yeah, I'm a teacher. That's what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about the end of the school year. I was just talking about how I had a lot of kids in my class who speak different languages this year. How would one improve / work with their kids during the summer or before school starts? How to work with them? Well, I won't say a good teacher because every teacher's different. A nice teacher would send home summer work for the kids to do, and that's a good start. Like we made massive packets to send home with kids based on where they were by the end. So we had like a packet for like the kids who were in the red who were still struggling. That packet was simple. It was literally like writing and tracing letters and then just copying the sentence. Like it was simple stuff. Or like fill in the number when you count. And then we had a different packet for the kids who were on grade level. The on grade level packet consisted of like rhyming practice, because that's important for kids to be able to hear sounds and words, like rhyming syllables. It also had a lot of like, here's a picture, now write the word to describe, like the word pan, you know, this is a pan, write the word pan. We had a lot of that in the packets. I had a lot of addition and subtracting in ones I sent home. And then you have ones for the higher kids, which if they're above grade level, what we typically send for the higher kids is a lot of reading stuff, because most of the time the higher kids can read pretty well. So for them, their packet was mostly like reading and writing stuff. Like, oh, here's a prompt. The girl was swimming in the pool. She is, and then they have to fill in the word. A nice teacher would send stuff home for the kids during the summer. If you don't, like if you have like a kid or like a little brother or sister that you want to help during the summer and your teacher did not send anything, honestly, it depends on their grade level. But there's a website that teachers use. It's called Teachers Pay Teachers. It is a website where you can find any worksheet you need under the sun. Any worksheet that you need, you can find for free on Teachers Pay Teachers. Is what us teachers use most of the time to find worksheets, if your school hasn't banned it, because some schools have banned that website. My school hasn't. That's all we use all day long. But because it's called Teachers Pay Teachers and it's for teachers, a lot of parents don't really think about it, but I like to recommend parents to use that, because there is a lot of free things and practice activities for kids on that website. Like if you're like, oh, my kid, I want to practice with my kid, they're adding and subtracting in the summer, you can literally go to Teachers Pay Teacher, typing adding and subtracting kindergarten, and then now you got kindergarten worksheets for your kids you can just print out and do with them. Like, that's what I recommend. Also reading practice. If they are in kindergarten going to first grade, you can have them start to read. Not all the words, but just the words that they know, so they can read with you. So they know basic red words like the word the and is. At least they should. If they don't, that's a problem that you need to work with them on. But then you can have them read with you. Like, oh, what's that word? The. Okay, the cat went to the, oh, what's this word? House, you know. Honestly, just please read to the kids. Please read to your kids. That's the biggest thing. If you read to your kid, they're exposed to literature. They're able to sit down and listen to a story, which is one thing Gen Alpha can't do. That makes me so mad. They can't listen to a story no more. They're so used to all these flashing colors and intense thing going on that listening to a story, oh, that's boring. I have to sit down and listen to somebody talk. and we have to look at the pages. Oh, how terrible. Like, that's how they be treating it. So please read to your kids, please, please. Oh my God, read to your little brother, read to your little sister, read to your kids, because oh my God, the amount of kids who just cannot handle sitting listening to a story. And then some kids will sit there and listen to the story and not comprehend any of it. So don't just read to your kids, read to them. Here's how you read to a kid that's young, and maximize what they learn while they read. All right, you ready? Get your little notebooks out. All right, I'm giving you all the tips and tricks of what us kindergarten teachers do to make sure your kids know how to understand books, right? First, when you read, always point to the words as you read it. If you are reading to a kid and you're not pointing to the pages, the kid is not going to the words. The kid is not going to make the connection themselves that you are reading the words on the page. They're not going to know that each word, all the letters grouped up between spaces, they're not going to know those are individual words. They're not going to know that you're reading the words on the page. And if they do know that they're reading the words on the page, hey friend, hey animal, if they do know you're reading the words on the page, they're not going to know when a word starts and stops, right? They don't understand the concept of spaces. If when you read the book to a kid, you point to each word as you read it, they understand. They start to watch you and they understand, okay, everything between a space, that is a word, and she is reading those words. That's a big connection that kids don't have anymore because parents don't read to them, and then when they do read, they don't even show them the page like that. It's complicated, but yes, when you read to them, point to each word as you read so they can make that connection. Oh well. Also, ask them questions. A lot of kids hear you, they see you, but they don't understand the story. They just go, ew, pretty colors. And they're making up their own story in their head based on the pictures. There are a lot of kids who hear you speak, don't internalize it, and they just look at the pictures and make up their own story. You'd be surprised. So you point to each word as you read it. Then you make sure that you ask questions. You don't have to ask on every page, but they're basic questions like, oh, where are they now? Oh, they're in the forest? Yeah. Why do you think they're going to the forest? Oh, so maybe they need some blah blah, you know. Are you reading something on the side? No, I'm explaining how to read to kids. I'm a kindergarten teacher. I'm explaining how you read to a kindergarten student, right? How to reach a little kid so they can learn as much as they can. But yeah, ask questions. Where are they? Oh, what's his name again? I forgot. And he is a what? Oh, he's a bunny. Oh, yeah, he's a bunny, right? Where are they going? Why do you think they're going there? Trust me when I say a lot of kids do not hear, they listen, but they don't hear you, and they make up their own story. And it's very frustrating as a teacher when you have that problem. I'm a kindergarten teacher, friend. It's very frustrating as a teacher reading a story only for the kids to not hear anything you said and to just point at pictures. That happens a lot, by the way. Like, I could read the, I'm a dog. I'm a teacher dog, sorry. I'm a teacher dog. What's a common story? I could read the Red Riding Hood, right? I did read the Red Riding Hood to my kids last week because we had a lot of free time in like the last days of school. I read this fun take on the Red Riding Hood. It was about the Red Riding Hood who went to ninja school. It was the Ninja Red Riding Hood. And it's a really fun story. Same thing as the Red Riding Hood, except they fought, right? Red Riding Hood went to ninja school, and so did the wolf. So when the wolf snuck in and pretended to be the grandma, instead of like, you know, I don't actually know what happened in the original. I haven't listened to it in a long time, but like when the wolf pretended to be the grandma, Red Riding Hood was like, "You're not my grandma," and they started fighting each other. They started doing karate. And then the grandma busts the door and says, "What's going on?" And then she also knew karate, so they started fighting each other. It's a really fun take on the Red Riding Hood. My kids love it. I asked my kids what happened in that story, and some of the answers I got were crazy. I was like, "Who's this character?" And they'd be like, "The wolf." And I'm like, "Is the wolf the good guy or the bad guy?" And they're like, "The good guy." And I'm like, "The good guy? What do you mean the good guy?" You know, like, it was the whole thing. And then I'd be like, I would ask more questions. I'm like, "Well, what did he do that was good?" And they would be like, "He gave Red Riding Hood a hug." I was like, "He did not give her a hug. Come on now." Like, so yeah, when you read to your kids, please ask them questions. A lot of kids literally listen to you speak, but instead they're just looking at the pictures and making up their own story in their head, and it's kind of crazy. There's nothing wrong with people not speaking, friend. I have a lurker society. Whenever you come into a stream of a person who's telling a lot of stories, a lot of people just sit back and they listen. A lot of people probably have me on their second monitor. They have a second monitor and they're doing something else. Maybe they listen to me while they play a game, you know? Never judge. It's okay if you're the only person typing. I'm not bothered by it. So don't be either. Also, but hey guys, you're typing in invisible chat letters. Yeah, they're invisible. Invisible. You have me on your 5th monitor? Ah, yeah. So you live in you stylish. You got me on the 5th monitor, you know? But yeah, I was talking about my school, how the school year is going this year, but I keep getting sidetracked with other topics. You're the honored one. You were the only one talking in chat, so you're the honored one now. Oh my goodness. But yeah, my kids' grades improved so much this year. They did so good by the end of the year. I was so impressed. Behaviors. Let's talk about behaviors. Let's talk about behaviors. How did my kids do behavior-wise this year in my kindergarten class? All right. Drum roll, please. They were actually pretty good. Usually I have some sort of crazy kid. I did have a crazy kid, but he showed up on the last month of the school year. You're the chatter. You carried the stream? Yeah, he's the giga chatter. My friend's mom thinks I'm possessed by a demon. Nah, last year I had, sorry, I haven't been reading this person's messages. Let me go back. I'm sorry, Angel. I have not checked into my YouTube chat for a while. Let's back up before I start telling more stories. High school students are pretty easy to teach, honestly, if they're one of the good kids. Summer work is also pretty hard to work with. Oh, I'm not doing nothing this summer. Trust me, I'm be here. I'm be here, hanging out in the Discord, streaming and doing content. I'm not teaching this summer. ADHD is so rare. I've been reading your messages. I haven't been reading them out loud, and that's on me. It's so hard to teach kindergartners because they're so good at making stories to make it make sense to them. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. They're making the story make sense to them, so they're constantly changing aspects of the story because they want it to be nicer for them. They'll do that with drawings too. I'll say, like, draw this picture and it'll be a picture of a tree, for example. And instead of drawing a tree, I'll say, draw this tree. Draw exactly how you see it. They'll draw a flower and they'll add their favorite colors. They'll add a bunch of different petals, try to make the flower look all nice and pretty to make it look nice for them. As opposed to, I asked you to draw a tree and you're drawing a pretty flower. That's not what I asked you to do, you know? They do that in every aspect. Like, it's kind of crazy. Now you're in the Discord. Ayo! The wolf is Skibbity? No! Children are so full of wonder. My class this year is pretty tame. My class this year were good. They were very good. I had really good kids. The worst behaviors I had were just boys. Boys every single year. boys like to roughhouse. They're taught to roughhouse, while girls are taught to talk and not to get dirty and whatnot. It was very rampant this year with those different personalities. My girls were always talking really loud and gossiping, and my boys were always roughhousing. Not bad. Last year the roughhousing was a lot more intense. Last year, like, the kids would literally be like dragging each other across the floor and tackling each other. This year the roughhousing was mostly just kids pulling on each other. So like during recess time, you know, they were playing that game where, like, I used to play it when I was a kid, where you tag a kid, and once you tag them, you got them, and you pull them and you bring them to jail. You know, they bring them to like the little jail spot, whatever the jail spot was, and then a friend has to break them out of this like jail area. They were playing that, but they were playing that a lot more rough. Like, they were pulling and yanking on each other, and that was the biggest issue I had with my kids this year. Just them pulling and yanking on each other when it was time to play. Like, they were just dragging each other around, and they kept getting hurt because of it. Like, they were constantly getting hurt because, like, one kid would be getting pulled by both sides. Like, one person would be pulling on his left arm, and another kid's pulling on his right arm. Like, it was kind of insane. But last year they were literally beating each other up. Those kids were literally tackling each other, kicking each other, punching each other. Like, they were roughhousing, and that was fun. Like, it was bad last year. This year I had one bad behavior kid, but he didn't show up until... Hey, Storm! He didn't show up until April. He literally came to school 2 months before school was over. I mean, he literally showed up in April. He's very quiet and respectful by himself. However, he has something going on internally. We know this. We just don't know what it is yet. When he gets excited, he can't control himself anymore. So when he gets excited, he hits somebody. So he's like, he gets excited, he hurts people. Not even just hit, he hurts. Because there was one time he got excited because the bell rang. So it was time for him to go home. And he literally put his arm around another kid's neck and started choking them. Because he got excited. Most of the time, if he gets excited, like we had a bounce house once, I didn't let him play on it because he got excited. So excited, he slapped a kid in the face. Unprovoked, just pure excitement. I'm excited, I'm going to hit you now. I'm excited, I'm going to hurt you now. He also, when he got upset, he would call people's names as well. This kid only spoke Spanish, as most of my students do, as the demographic in my school is mostly Hispanic. I don't speak Spanish, but there's ways we communicate. One of my kids was like, hey Miss Cyan, look what he's doing. And she just wanted to show off the drawing that he had made on his iPad because it was free time on their iPad time. So she picks up his iPad and flips it over to show it to me. And in doing so, she accidentally closed the app that he was drawing on. And when I tell you, he yelled and called her the B word in Spanish, the kid looked at me like, and I looked back her at like, I was like, boy, you can't say that. But this was literally the last day of school. So like, I just said, don't say that. And we moved on. It was the last day of school. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this today. Go home. And you can say that at home all you want, but please, it's the last day of school. I'm not dealing with that. I told my kids on the last day of school, I said, I'm not dealing with any of their behaviors. If you got a problem, you need to figure it out with your friends. If we got a major problem, you're getting out, is what I told them on the last day of schoschool. And that was one of those moments where I was like, it's the last day. I'm not dealing with that. You go sit over there by yourself and don't talk to nobody. Like that it was a lot. I shall stretch though. The kid is very hyperactive. See, he's not though. He's very mellow. He's very calm all day long. Because he came into school very late, so he didn't understand a lot of the worksheets and work that we were required to do. So he spent a lot of his time, quite literally, I would give him one worksheet that would take the other kids 10 minutes to do. He would literally sit at that worksheet for as long as I let him. Hey, cereal. Thank you. He literally would sit at that worksheet for as long as I would let him sit there for. Meaning, sometimes I wouldn't notice that he was still staring at that worksheet until like an hour later when all the other kids are done. So And he was very mellow. Like, he was very calm. He moved pretty slowly. He was very gentle when it came time to clean up and when to do his work. But then all of a sudden, whenever he gets excitement, it's almost like a rush of excitement for him. Like, I feel like he feels like an intense excitement. Like, all of a sudden he gets excited. It's like, oh, I can't contain it no more, because he's very mellow. Like, he's a very calm child. Is iPads common in classrooms? Yes. Yes, iPad is the norm. Kindergarten through 2nd grade gets iPads. Once they reach 3rd grade, they get Chromebooks and so on. All the way up until high school, they will have Chromebooks. Yes, iPads are very common. Kids are not asked to write as often anymore. They are asked to type. Type up this essay, type up this thing, type up that thing. That's why I like kindergarten, because we're still doing worksheets and things by hand and writing. But once they hit 3rd grade, a lot of stuff becomes type this up, type that up, type this up, type that up, you know. Yes, iPads and Chromebooks are very common because there are programs that the school requires us to do. Meaning, like, yeah, there are certain programs that the kids are required to do. For example, it'll be like a program where they have to do 20 minutes on it every single day, and it teaches them some letters or some sounds and how to read. Or there's another one we'll teach them math, you know, how to add, subtract, all this stuff. So we are required to have them have iPad time every day. They have to have a certain amount of time on that specific app. It's an app that also, it helps track data. It's why the district likes it, because we don't have to like test them and upload all this information. No, we can just give them an iPad, and the iPad will keep track of their progress. So yeah, I don't like it in particular, but do you know that when a crow dies, other crows gather around and look for what might have caused it? Yes, crows are very mean. Not mean, but they're very smart, and they like to work together. It's kind of scary. Entering 3rd to 10th is going to be so much work for them. Yeah. Yeah, it is. But yeah, school is definitely different than it was when we were younger. Technology is very much commonplace now, I guess is the best way to say it. Technology is very commonplace now, meaning we have a lot more leeway when it comes to that, to like iPads and stuff. It also is a problem because paper costs money, and schools are no longer willing to spend as much money on paper and printing as they used to be. Like, I don't know if I'm sure it used to be unlimited in the past because everything was by paper. But now, since everything is not by paper, we have a maximum amount of copies that you can do. Like, we have 2 kinds of printers at our school. One printer you make master copies for, and then the other printer you can make unlimited, like, copies from the master that you printed. The printer that you make the master copies for, you only have X amount of prints every month. So if you run out of things, you straight up just cannot print anything anymore. That's just how that one functions. You cannot print anything anymore once you run out of copies for the month. And that's the standard now, because everything's online. They're like, oh, well, not everything needs to be a worksheet, so you need to work on it, save your worksheets, and then figure out other ways to do this activity, you know? So it kind of gets on my nerves that it functions like that. But I've never run out of copies. But if you're someone like a team lead, for example, and you're required to print stuff for other people because that's your job, then you're gonna run out of copies. Like, our team lead was constantly running out of copies because she was required to print stuff for the rest of us, you know? So it kind of sucks. Yeah. I remember my school gave 6th graders laptops to take home, but they were old MacBooks, and after we finished 6th grade, they got rid of them because they were old. That's crazy. When I was a kid, Chromebooks started becoming popular when I reached 7th grade. That's when they started, 7th grade was when they started giving Chromebooks to students. Initially, it always stayed in the classroom, though. We never brought them home. Nowadays, kids can bring home their iPad, their Chromebooks and stuff because we have more, but at the time, it stayed in the classroom. How are you? I'm good. I'm okay today. Our current curriculum is very strict with technology and prevents the use of their phones and can only have it back in the afternoon. Oh, yeah, they take their phones. I mean, technically, phones are not allowed at all anymore. At least at my school, it's not. They're able to bring their phones, but it's supposed to stay in their book bags. Like, they're not even supposed to have it in their pocket. And you would think that since I'm a kindergarten teacher, I don't have to deal with that, but that's not true. My first year of teaching, I didn't know what to do because it was my first year. I had a kid who had a phone, and she would always sneak it into her pocket. She would I would look at her, and she'd be peering over in her pocket at her phone, always messaging someone. What she was doing was, hey Chaku, she was sending emojis to her dad throughout the school day. Like, she would pull out her phone out of her pocket and she'd send him emojis because obviously this girl couldn't read or write. She hardly came to school. That girl had 80 absences by the end of the year. Like, she literally missed over a third of school. She hardly was there. And when she was there, she was doing stupid stuff like sending emojis to her dad all day. And her dad, which used to make me mad, would be sending her emojis back. I'm like, dude, your daughter's in school. Not only is she not supposed to be on her phone, which is kindergarten, why does she have this big fancy phone anyways? But she shouldn't be, like, on it, especially, and talking to you. Like, if my kid was supposed to be in class, and they were actively just texting me really unnecessary things that are emergencies, I would be really mad as a parent. But no, this parent was texting their daughter while we were in school. And so I told her she needs to keep that phone in her book bag or I'm going to take it. So she started keeping it in her book bag. But the dad was upset that I wouldn't let her daughter have her phone on her because this dad was the most overprotective parent I had ever met. Like, it was bad. He was the same parent. This parent accused me of starving his daughter because he would bring her to lunch. He would pack her for lunch, a really heavy lunchbox, you know. And since she had this really heavy lunchbox, I figured, and with a lot of stuff in it, I figured that was her lunch. Because she would open that lunchbox and there would be like literally like 10 different things in there. And so I was like, okay, she brings her own lunch. So I let her go with her lunchbox and sit down at the table. A few days later, you are starving my daughter. Why are you not feeding my daughter food? My daughter comes home and she tells me she's hungry every day because you're not feeding her. And I was like, she brings a lunch. She eats her lunch. No, that lunch box is not her lunch. That's just snacks. What? You bring her a lunch box full of 9 to 10 different things every single day, and that's supposedly just her snack? How much do you think this girl gonna be eating in one day, in one lunch period? Like, when I say that lunchbox was full, it was full. And he was like, you're starving my daughter because you're letting her eat the lunchbox snacks. Those are snacks, not real food. So I said, okay, well, if you want her to get school lunch, you can get her. I can get you some get her some school lunch. And he goes, thank you. So I start getting her school lunch. I start making her go to this lunch line and get her little school lunch and then have her big old lunchbox full of snacks next to her. All right. A few days later again, you are starving my daughter. Didn't I tell you to let her eat school lunch? She's coming home every day saying she's hungry. She's starving. She's terribly hungry. My baby is starving. And what got me was that this kid had an older sister who was in 3rd grade. This dad, because the parents are not allowed to walk their kids to the classroom and fuss at the teacher, right? You're not allowed to do that. So what he would do is he would have his daughter, the older sister who was in 3rd grade, walk down to the classroom with my student so that she could fuss at me instead. The little third grader would be like, my sister is very hungry, she's starving, she tells me you don't let her eat, she's starving. Like, she was so frantic, and I was like, she's not starving. I said she eats lunch. Well, she comes home saying she's hungry. I was like, whatever, just go back to your class, girl. So I literally had to take a picture of the kid eating her lunch just so that the parent would stop fussing about it. Like, I literally had to take a picture of the kid eating with food in her hand, about to put it in her mouth, and then send it to the dad and say, look, she's eating school lunch. Because he didn't believe me when I said that the first time. And then he was like, thank you. And then I didn't hear about it again. All right. I didn't hear about it again. This is the same kid who had a phone in her pocket all the time that I said earlier. She also, because, you know, she was sending emojis and messages to her dad, and her dad was sending her emojis back. This kid, so I told this kid she couldn't have her phone in the class. Guess what the dad did? He gave her a smartwatch, and I didn't notice it because a lot of modern digital watches that go on the arms now resemble smartwatches. Like, even if it's just a normal watch that tells the time and might have like 1 or 2 games on it, a lot of them resemble smartwatches, so it's hard to tell what's a normal watch and what's a smartwatch. I thought it was just a normal one of those fancy digital watches that some of my kids have. You know, they're not smartwatches, but they are interactive, where you can like touch the screen and stuff. No, this was a smartwatch, and I found out it was a smartwatch because this kid, she was in the hallway. We were in the hallway on the way to lunch. And I hear a voice. I'm like, where is that noise coming from? She was on the phone with her dad, using her smartwatch in the hallway. Literally on a phone call with her dad in the hallway. And he was just talking to her. She wasn't saying anything. She's just going, He was just talking to her. I was like, what is your problem? Like, same parent that accused me of starving a child. And then he messaged me about that afterward because I confiscated her watch and I turned it off completely. And I put it in her book bag. And I said, you're not wearing this in my room. If I see that again, I'm taking it back off. Or it's going to go to the principal's office, either or. And then the parent messages me. He's like, how am I supposed to keep in contact with my daughter throughout the school year if you keep taking her things? I'm like, she's in a classroom. She's safe. I was like, because I'm not even following proper protocol anyways. The proper protocol is if your kid brings a phone to school, you're supposed to take it and bring it to the front office. But because I understand that, like, you know, parents do want to send their kids to school with phones to keep at least in their book bag so that, you know, when they ride the bus and stuff, they can contact them. Or if like something really bad comes up, they want to be able to, like, you know, your kid wants to be able to have your kid, you want your kid to be able to contact you in an emergency. So I understand having the phone, like, just in their book bag, like keeping it handy. So I never really followed the protocol of obtaining their phones and giving it to the main office. But that was the one time that I really thought about it. I really did. I can tell their parents are going to get their daughter fat. It wasn't even just food though. They obsessed about everything. She was hardly at school, and every time I asked them why she wasn't at school, they said, oh, she's very sick. She's very sick. She was coughing so much, and then she's fine. Like, she's literally fine. But they'd claim every other day they claim that she had some crazy cough that they just developed overnight and just magically went away the same day before she came to school the next day. Like, it was kind of crazy. I wouldn't say that was the worst parent I had to deal with. He also later started accusing me of not allowing her to drink any water because she brought a water bottle to school and she never asked for water. Like, all you have to do is ask and I'll be like, yeah, you can get some water. She quite literally never asked, so she never drank her water. And the dad got mad at me accusing me of preventing her from drinking water. I'm like, no, she just has to say, can I get some water? But she doesn't say that. Like that's on her. If she does not speak up, I'm not gonna check in on all 18 kids and constantly go, get some water, you know, like if a kid wants water, they're going to tell you they want some water, which she did occasionally, but it just wasn't often that she asked for it. So it's kind of crazy. I don't know. Something is wrong. There was something wrong with those parents. And there literally was something wrong. I remember it was her birthday. The biggest incident I had with those set of parents was it was the kid's birthday, which again, this kid was hardly present. Yes, there is a phone in the front office too. It was her birthday, and the dad asked me, he called me the night before, and he was like, hey, it's her birthday, I'm just letting you know, is it okay if I like bring some things? And I was like, what do you mean by some things? He explained that he wanted to bring McDonald's for every kid. He wanted to bring cupcakes and a cake and a gift bag full of toys for every kid. And I was like, no, if it's her birthday, at most you can bring some cupcakes. I said, do not bring a cake because that's hard to cut up and give to the kids and it takes a long time. I said, while I appreciate the gesture of McDonald's for every kid, again, that's going to be hard to distribute and they only have 20 minutes. They don't even get full 30 minutes for lunch. They get 20 minutes for lunch. So that's going to take a long time to distribute that out to all the kids and stuff. They won't have enough time to eat it and it's just going to go in the trash. And I was explaining to him, like, why only bring the cupcakes? And, you know, when I tell you he came to the school the next day and he brought everything anyways, he was lying. He lied to me that morning and claimed, because he told me that he was bringing stuff and I said, I told you don't bring it. And he claimed that the front office said it was okay. I called the front office and the front office said, no, it's not okay. We told him not to bring that stuff either. And I'm like, well, he just lied through his teeth. So what he did is he just dropped all the stuff off at the front anyways. And it was my first year, so I didn't know what to do. It's like, what do you do when that happened? I'm different than I was my first year. My first year, I was a people pleaser. I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Yeah, he dropped that all off in the morning, like at the day of school start. He dropped everything. He dropped off the gift bags, McDonald's for every kid. Sorry, not in the morning. He dropped it off midday. McDonald's, gift bags for every kid, a cake and cupcakes, all of that. And then and then we didn't know what to do because we're like, oh, he just dropped us off and left it here. Should we give it to the kids? And I was like, I guess. See, that was first year Cyan speaking. If that would have happened this year, I would have said no and I would have put all that stuff in the trash. Like, I literally would have been like, no, I told you no, it's going in the trash. But since it was my first year, since this is my first year, I didn't know what to do. No, Pain King, you gotta redeem that. That's a redeem. If it happened like yesterday, I would have been like, oh no, it's going in the trash. You can drop it off all you want, but no means no, so it's going in the trash. But I was too nice. I was too nice back in. Hey, Sammy. So they brought all the stuff in. The problem was, right, he brought McDonald's for everybody. The problem was he brought it, like I told him what time lunch was. That's the time he's supposed to bring all the stuff, bring his cupcakes and stuff. That's when we would give it out. He brought everything as soon as lunch was over. So quite literally, my kids had finished eating their food. And then as soon as it was time to clean up, then comes the cart full of McDonald's. And I was like, are you kidding me? We just finished eating lunch. Now these kids got some extra food. And then the kids got all these like toys and stuff. It was so bad. And it was a normal school day. So when you give kids a bunch of all this stuff, it takes them out of the classroom environment. Like, I was unable to teach the rest of that day because the kids were so ecstatic and overly excited that day. All right. All right, Pain King, you're such a good boy. Did you know that? You're such a good boy. Hey, March. But yeah, it was such a weird and bad like situation. I sent the parent a floor to ceiling message after that. I was like, I understand your intentions were great, But you lied to me. You lied to the front office. We said don't bring it. You brought it anyways. And it disrupted the class. Like, I told him, I said, once you brought all that stuff after we said not to, the kids were overly hyper and they could not focus again, and no teaching had happened that day. Because you wanted to bring all the stuff in. Like, I sent him a floor-to-ceiling message saying, what you did was very disrespectful. I didn't like that, and don't do it again. And he replied back, and he was like, you need to relax. I was like, don't tell me to relax. Hey, Neon! Hey, Neon, how are you? What were you doing? Were you doing some art? I'm talking about some classroom things what happened. Rainbow Raid! Do not tell Sensei to relax. Exactly, never tell me to relax. Never tell me to relax, bro. I will go off if you tell me to relax. You're working on Mink's model? Ooh, I hope it turned out nice, yeah. Some of these parents need to be students in your class. Oh, I wish. I wish. Gotta get going early. Oh, okay. Bye, Neon. Bye-bye. Thanks for the raid, friend. I hope the model is looking spiffy. Hi, JP. I'm coughing more. I need to drink. Let me drink my water. Let me hydrate a little bit. Hearing that you got told to relax just reminds me of South Park. Yeah, he told me he basically responded by saying that I was too uptight as a teacher and that I need to relax and learn to have a little fun. I'm like, I'm trying to do my job. My job is to teach the kids and I have a party every day. If you want to deal with 18 hyperactive 5-year-olds, then by all means you can do that, but being one person in charge is too much. Anyways, Twitch ad break is happening like right now. Terrible time because Neon just raided, but I can't stop him, so and I'm coughing, so I'm gonna rest my voice. Be right back, y'all. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Be right back. Sorry, I can't resist yelling. Hey! I came back. Alright, we were talking about... I talked about bad parents. That one parent I was talking about before is probably the only bad parent I had. I had a parent last year who used to... I did have one last year that kind of got to me. She used to blame me for a lot of things that happened with her child. So like her kid would like act out and I would call the mom to talk about it, and the mom be like, because I know my baby wouldn't act like that. My baby would not act like that. So what are you doing to make my baby act like that? Maybe my baby's getting bullied because she would never do or say anything like that on her own. She gotta be getting bullied. And I was like, ma'am, your daughter does not talk to anybody. Okay? You can't get bullied if you don't interact with anybody, because her daughter wouldn't talk to nobody. She wouldn't work with anybody. And if you asked her to work with somebody, she would have a meltdown. Like, she just refused to interact with any of her classmates. Yet the mother was like, well, her behavior is bad because she's getting bullied. And I was like, ma'am, she doesn't like talking to people. She's not getting bullied if she can't talk to nobody. It was a whole thing. Or like one time, like the mom had asked the father of the kid to pick up the kid from car rider that day. Like, she was supposed to be on the bus that day, but she was going to be car rider instead. So I send the kid to car rider, and the father shows up and picks up her older sister, but doesn't pick her up. And the mom calls me livid. I told you not to send my baby on the bus. Why is my baby on the bus? And I was like, she's not on the bus. She's sitting in the car rider. Well, her father says she ain't see her there. And I was like, I can rest assure you, she's at the car rider. I was like, I can go walk down the car riders right now, but she is there. And then he's like, well, her father doesn't have her in the car. Somehow that was my fault that the father left without their daughter. That's so crazy to me, because if I was a parent and I'm supposed to be picking up both of my children, right? But only one of the two children, bye DVT, only one of the two children hop in my car, I would not be pulling off and leaving the school. They literally left the school knowing that they were missing. The father left the school knowing that he was missing one of his two kids. And I'm like, no, your daughter, she is in the car rider area. It's just they simply did not see her, so they left. And I'm like, huh? And the mother was mad at me. I was like, girl, you need to be mad at your man for leaving the school and leaving your child all alone because he simply did not see her. Like, hello? Like, huh? If I was a parent, I would be investigating. Where's my daughter? Can we figure out where she is? Hello? I'm not leaving without my daughter. Nah, bro said, oh, she's not there. I'm going home. And that was my fault. That was somehow my fault. I will never forget that one. Because the mom was like, I'm trying my hardest not to curse you out right now, but you're pissing me off. I said, ma'am, she's with the car riders. She's with the car. Well, my husband didn't pick her up because he didn't see her. Then why did he leave the school then? If he didn't see her, he should have waited for her because she's there. She was probably on her way. She probably was walking to the car, and they probably pulled off before she could make it to the car because it's a little bit of a walk for kindergarten to get to the car from carpool. Yeah, it was a whole thing. That was the only other time I had a parent that was breathing down my neck. But all the other parents I've had have been very lovely. This year I've had only lovely experiences with parents. It was really interesting when we had this year I had the most parent-teacher conference I've ever had, because usually I send out all these invitations, these flyers and stuff. Usually only like 6 out of 18 parents actually meet up with me. This year I had met 13 parents, which is a lot. I've met almost all the parents, and every single one of them thanked me for what I do with their child once it was over. Every single one of them thanked me, and it was such a good feeling. Same thing when the kindergarten graduation came, which I'm gonna talk about the graduation because I was crying like a baby. When the kindergarten graduation came, it was the same thing. They were like, all the parents like surrounded me after it was over, and they were like, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for working with my daughter. She's changed so much. Thank you, you know. It was so nice. How are you? I'm good. I'm a little sick right now, but I'm okay. I just cough sometimes. So yeah, the kindergarten graduation, man, oh man, was it. The events that led up to the kindergarten graduation was a mess, but the event itself worked itself out. And when I say it was a mess, I mean the details surrounding it were really bad. Because admin, the people in charge, admin asked in April, they said, teachers, do you guys want to have a kindergarten graduation this year? All the teachers voted no. I wanted one, but the other teachers said no, we don't want to do that because it's a lot of work and the kids aren't actually graduating, you know, like we're doing all of this and it's a fake graduation, you know. And they were like, yeah, so they didn't want to do it. Yeah, not for kindergarten, because kindergarten graduation is just a fun little thing. I wanted to do it because I think it's fun, and I do think that because it's their first year, the kids grow a lot. So, you know, they're graduating from their first year. I like it, you know. It symbolizes how much they've grown in 1 year, in their first year of school. But they didn't want to because there was a lot of drama surrounding the graduation the previous year with how the planning was done. Like everything was all planned out, but we had a few people on our team who basically went rogue the day of the graduation and kind of did their own thing. And that made them upset. So they said, you know what? If we all can't agree and be on the same page, then we don't want to do a graduation because we don't want people going rogue, basically. Which resulted in them not wanting one this year. So the admin said, do you want one? Everyone said no. Everyone said no. I wanted one, but everyone said no. So it was like, whatever. They said, okay, well, you guys don't want one, but the school, we want to do one because last year because we didn't do one last year because of the drama of the previous year, and the parents were livid. The parents were furious that there was no graduation last year. And they were like, we don't really want the parents like fussing up and down and really upset again because there was no graduation. So since you guys don't want to do it, this year, we're going to have a graduation, but we're going to take care of everything. That's what admin said. They said, you know what, you guys don't want to do it, so don't worry about the planning of the details. We'll take care of everything. All you guys have to do is show up and smile and be there for your kids. We'll take care of everything. That was the compromise because we didn't want to have one, but admin wanted one, basically. All right, we had a compromise. Okay, well, admin will take care of everything. We just show up and smile because we don't want to do it, so they'll do it, right? Yeah, I do think it should be celebrated, but my coworkers didn't see it that way. So fast forward to June, right? The last day of school for us was June 10th. We held the graduation on the 9th. Fast forward to the week before graduation, we're all asking a bunch of questions because we're like, we don't have any details for anything. Like this event, this big event is happening next week, and we don't have any details. So we start asking about a bunch of questions, asking around, what are we doing? What's our role in this? Because, you know, they told us we just had to sit back and relax, but we are still the teachers at the end of the day, which means we're going to have some sort of role in it. So I was like, what do we do? What is our role, right? I'm asking the people in charge questions about it, and they have no answers. Not a single answer. They can't answer anything. They're like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? The event's next week, and you said you would be planning it. So then all of a sudden, they pass the baton of planning it onto the music teacher. Literally on Thursday, which the event was supposed to happen the upcoming Tuesday. on Thursday, they were like, hey, Mr. Music Teacher Man, you need to plan the details out. What? And Mr. Music Man was like, huh? That's my job now? What? And they were like, yeah, yep, that's your job now. That's your job now. It was bad. It was bad. Yeah, poor music teacher. Mr. Music Man was frowning. He was like, well, this sucks. And all of us were standing in a circle frowning. We were like, well, what do we do? And he was like, I guess we'll figure something out. Mind you, they told him this 10 minutes before we were supposed to have a rehearsal. We were supposed to take all the kids to the auditorium and rehearse the graduation ceremony, like how it's going to go. And they told him 10 minutes prior that he's in charge of everything. So he was like, well, what do we do during rehearsal day? Because I don't know what's going on, and we're supposed to be practicing in 10 minutes. And they were like, yeah, just practice some music. Okay, so that Thursday we practice some music. We do another rehearsal on Friday. Again, we still don't really have many details because a lot of things have to get approved by admin and whatnot, and we don't know. It was a whole mess. Like, telling this man he's in charge of the whole event 3 work days before the event happens. So it was a mess. It was a mess, y'all. But the actual event, when it actually happened on Tuesday, it went perfectly well. It was very good. You wouldn't know that there was a lot of like drama leading up to it. I cried like a baby. My role, I had to call the kids' names to get their certificate. I said, when I call your name, please accept your certificate. And then I went down the list and I called every kid's name while they stood up and got their certificate. And boy, oh boy, was I crying. I always cry. I do. At the end of the year, I try to get to a cryable moment before I cry. You know, like you know what I mean? Like, it's awkward if I just get to work and start crying that day, you know, like before the graduation starts. So I tried to hold it in until it was a reasonable time to cry. So like when they first sang their first song, I tried to hold it until they sang their first song so I could be like, oh, it's so beautiful. No, I didn't make it that far. We literally walked into the auditorium. I sat down in the chair, looked at my kids sitting crisscross applesauce in their spots, and I started bawling right then and there. That was it for me. I couldn't handle much more than that. I did. I cried so bad. And yeah, I cried the whole time. I cried when they sat down. I cried when they walked in first. Then I cried when they sat down. Then I cried when they were singing their little songs because I was like, oh, look at how good they are doing singing their songs. I cried when they sang their songs. I really started crying when it was my time to go up to the podium and call the kids' names one by one because that, I don't know, having to call my kids' names one by one, their full name, and then giving them their little certificate, that's emotional for me. That's when I really started crying. Like before I was crying a little bit, but I was okay. But as soon as I got that podium and I say, when I call your name, please get your certificate, I was bawling. I was. Every year I do that. So then after the event, all the parents circled me and they were like, thank you so much for what you do for my kids. I started crying even more when that happened. And then a random parent came up to me. And they gave me a hug. And they were like, I've been watching you. And she's like, I've been watching you this whole time. Thank you for being so compassionate. Because every time the kids did something, like sang their song or got their awards, you're the only one in here who's like really crying, and you could tell you feel so many emotions regarding them. So she was like, thank you for being passionate. She gave me a hug and I started crying even more. I was like, I just finished crying and you're gonna tell me that? And she was like, I'm sorry. It was sad though because on kindergarten graduation day, the parents can sign the kids out and they can go home with them, right? They sign the kids out, they go home, bye-bye for the summer, you know? Usually they don't bring the kids back the next day. But all this year, I had a really good attendance on the last day of school. I'm like, Y'all just had y'all graduation. Why did you come back to the last day of school anyway? I had 12 kids come on the last day. But usually it's just a final goodbye. You know, most kids don't usually come back, except for this year. Problem was, everyone's parents were there to sign the kids out, except for one. My little lady, one of my little students, she's like the smallest one that we have, and she was sobbing because she couldn't find her parents. Her parents didn't come. And she was crying really, really, really bad. And I felt so bad for her. Like, because they had the kids who stayed, like, who either their parents didn't come or they didn't, or they asked to stay with the teacher, because some kids are like, I want to stay at the school. The ones who stayed, they were like, my kid was so sad. They had to have lunch immediately after the event, and she did not want to eat. I said, come on, let's get you some food. She was like, no. And I was like, come on, girl. I know you're sad, but you still need to eat, girl, or you're going to be hungry. And I sat with her and I talked to her. And then after lunch was over, I called her dad, and I was like, hey, I try not to sound guilt trippy, because no matter what you say to a parent, telling them that, like, hey, today was kindergarten graduation and your daughter is crying because you missed it is going to sound guilt trippy no matter how you say it. I was trying my hardest to word it in a way that didn't seem like I was pointing fingers or accusing the parent, because, you know, sometimes parents gotta work sometimes, you know, and they can't take off even for something like that, because maybe they're living paycheck to paycheck. Like, you don't know anyone's situation. I tried so hard not to sound like guilt trippy, but it's really hard to tell somebody that without sounding like you're pointing a finger. But I was like, hey, just letting you know that your daughter's she's been crying this whole time. And they were like, oh, why? And I was like, well, today was the kindergarten graduation and she was sad that she didn't see you there. And then I gave the kid the phone, and she was like, I want to go home. And then the dad was like, okay, I come get you. So the dad came and picked her up. So I was left in an empty classroom that day. It's kind of crazy. I hydrated, Corey. Hey. Kindergarten graduation is I like it. There's a big controversy around it, I've noticed. Not just from teachers, but some parents think that it's a waste of time. Like, anytime, like, the end of the school year comes around, people on Reddit and Facebook and Instagram start talking about kindergarten graduations. And a lot of times there's very mixed feelings about it. Like, a lot of times I'll see a bunch of people who are like, sorry, I'm still sick, who are like, man, that's a waste of time. If my kid had a kindergarten graduation, I would not take him to that because she ain't graduating nothing. And then you got the other side of people who are like, oh, it's important to celebrate their accomplishments. And I'm like, I think it's important because they grow so much in 1 year, but some people think it's a waste of time since they're not actually graduating. And I'm like, sure, let's call it that. Let's call it a waste of time. Regarding drama this year, though, usually I get in a lot of drama. You'd be surprised. A lot of teachers act like high schoolers. A lot of he said, she said drama type of things. I didn't mean to do that. Whoopsie, I clicked on something wrong. There's usually a lot of he said, she said kind of things that goes around. I didn't get involved in much drama this year, which is great. That's good for me. Usually there's a lot of random drama that happens every school year. But this year's been pretty mellow. Just a few people getting upset about he said, she said. Oh, someone at the front office told me that you told her that you said. I'm like, dude, why are you listening to? So you're telling me that this person told you that they heard from another person that I said something like that? That's the level of drama we got going on at my school. It's kind of crazy. It's like a fun event, and for the little kids to help support continuous growth. It is. It's a lovely event. It is a lovely event. I love the kindergarten graduation. I hate being a part of it. I got anxiety bad. All right, I'd be up there trembling. But actually, now that I think about it, this year I was more sad than I was anxious, I guess you could say. Because normally I'm trembling like crazy, but now I think about it, I wasn't trembling in the moment. I was just trying not to cry as much. I guess I wasn't that anxious, to be honest. Usually I'm like, like trembling, like super nervous, feel like I gotta go to the bathroom last minute or something. No, this year I guess I was okay. I did take extra L-theanine though. I did take some extra. I was more emotional than anything else, but I did prepare. I took extra strength L-theanine before I went up there, and I think that did help, honestly. I would imagine HR in your career would be on you if anything sus ever happened. I suppose. I guess. I mean, I'm a teacher, so if anything sus does ever happen, it would be a big thing. Thanks for the bitty bits. But typically, sus things don't really happen like that when you teach kindergarten. Sometimes, every now and then, you will get kids who will say really inappropriate stuff, and then that's when you have to sit down and meet with their parents. But if you're a good person and you're a teacher, nothing crazy should be happening in your classroom. Yeah. I've never had to talk. The only thing HR really does, because HR doesn't really function in a school system the way it does like other jobs. Like other jobs be like, oh, you said this, HR is going to get involved. HR is like non-existent. Like, yes, they exist, but nobody reaches out to HR because the principal takes care of everything, right? Like nobody's going to be contacting HR because you said XYZ. No, they'll contact the principal if you say something crazy, or do something crazy like that. But nothing really ever happens. I mean, we work with kids. You gotta be a nice kind of person to work with kids, you know? So, you gotta be a nice kind of person to work with kids. I should not be eepy. It's 1:30 p.m. We did have some problems before, but they were never major. There's a lot of things that we actually do that's part of the rules to prevent issues to where you could get accused of doing something wrong. So like, for example, a lot of the kids in kindergarten are still potty trained, but every year we get at least 5 to 10 kids who are not. They're either afraid to use the bathroom by themselves, or they just were not potty trained for some reason and are still wearing like diapers. It's kind of crazy how many kids in kindergarten who are 5 years old are still wearing diapers. But, you know, to avoid any like conflicts, teachers actually are not able to help a kid out in that regard. So like if a kid poops their pants, for example, we have to call their parents to come clean them up and change their clothes because we're not allowed to do that. If a kid's wet himself, again, hopefully the kids can change their own clothes too, but a lot of times if a kid's wetting themselves and they're not potty trained, they probably can't change their clothes either because their parents do everything for them. Again, we call their parents and have the parents come and change them, you know. If a kid's too scared to go to the bathroom by themselves, oh well. I mean, I would shrug my shoulders if I could on this model. Oh well. We can't go in there and help them. We are not a daycare. Daycares do that. But at a school, they're expected to be potty trained already. They're expected to be able to use a bathroom by themselves. And if they cannot, we cannot help them. We cannot help them. That's kind of bad, especially since it's happening for like legal protection. It is for legal protection. Because let's say you do go in the bathroom with the kid and you help change them, right? They're 5 years old. Some of these kids aren't potty trained. Let's say you go in the bathroom with a kid that's not potty trained and you help them go to the bathroom properly, or you help like change their clothes or something, right? All it takes is the kid to say that you did something bad that you weren't supposed to do, and that's a lawsuit, you know? You can lose your teaching license over that. So to prevent like stuff like that, from happening. You just don't do it. Like, you just are not allowed to do it. Sometimes admin will try to get you to do it anyways, but I always refuse. They'll be like, well, you need to change him. I always say no. I straight up tell them no. Because that's a legal problem. That's a legal issue. Like, you're legally not allowed to do that. And if it ever got out that you did do that, you're going to jail, honey. You going to jail. You're gonna lose your teaching license and you're going to jail. And I ain't trying to go to jail over admin who told me to do something that I wasn't supposed to do. Because I did have a kid my first year who would constantly would poop his pants. And poop is messy. A kid who poops their pants, they a lot of times can't clean that up themselves, right? If they wet themselves, all I gotta do is just change their clothes and they're good to go. If they poop on themselves, if they poop their pants, it's usually a big mess, and the kids aren't usually capable enough to clean up after themselves without getting more poop everywhere and to properly get it off of them and stuff. So someone has to change them. I had my first year, they kept trying to tell me to do it. Like, the front office and the admin, they'd be like, oh, Cyan, you're his teacher. You go change his pants. And I'd be like, no. I told them no so many times. They were getting so mad at me. Now, legally, the only time you can do that, because there are exceptions. And the exception is if the kid has an IEP, which is an individualized education plan or program, either or, for kids with special needs. There are some kids that have some sort of disability that they have certain accommodations that need to be met. That is the only exception for being able to, like, change a kid, you know, like help change their clothes, help like change like their diaper and stuff if they need to in kindergarten. Only if they have some sort of disability that is documented that prevents them from doing it themselves, and if within that disability, the disability document that lays out everything, it specifies that somebody needs to change them. If it's not a part of the document and it's not specified, then you don't do it because you don't have any legal backings without that document. Without that document, if a kid goes to the bathroom on themselves and you go to that bathroom and you try to help them, you can go to jail. With the document, you are covered. You say, hey, well, I have this document here. It says this kid has a disability. He can't change himself, so this is accommodation. That's different. So, don't ever let nobody convince you to change a kid's clothes if they go to the bathroom on themselves and have an accident. That will land you in jail really fast. And that's not going to be me. They literally would send up, because I kept refusing when admin told me to do it, because I was like, no, that's not legal. I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable breaking the law and risking my entire livelihood for one kid who just decided he didn't want to go to the bathroom, right? So since I would always refuse, they would always send up like some sort of staff member who worked in like the front office who was willing to change the child. Because they tried to pin it on me as me not wanting to do, like, oh, she don't want to change the child. I'm like, no, guys, it's not legal. So they would send somebody up who was willing to break the law to change the child, and that's on them. If they want to do that, that's on them. But if I'm going to get arrested, it better be for something deserving of getting arrested for, you know? Like maybe someone's in danger and I come and save the day, but I get wrongfully accused or something and then I get arrested, you know? That's a hero story, you know? I came and I saved the day, but ended up in jail. Oh, darn. But at least I got to save the day. If I'm gonna get arrested, it's not gonna be because the kid decided he wanted to wet himself in the classroom and admin said change him. No, I'm good. Yeah, you'd be surprised how many kids are not potty trained by the age of 5, by the way. It's kind of sad. Or how many kids are afraid of like bathrooms to the point where they won't use it. When I was a kid, I was afraid of automatic flushes because it was a sudden loud noise and you didn't know when it was going to flush. But even though I was afraid, I I was more afraid of wetting myself than I was of the bathroom. So when I'd go into a bathroom that I knew had an automatic flush, I would go and use the bathroom as fast as I could, and then I would run out of the bathroom. That's what I'd do. I was more afraid of wetting myself because my parents would, I don't know what my parents would have done if I wet myself at school, but I felt like it would have been something crazy. So, but a lot of kids, they're like, oh, I'm too scared. And then they just rather like sit with wet clothes on all day. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, when I was cleaning up my classroom this year and packing things up, I went to go pack up my rug because I buy my own little personal small rugs for the classroom. Let me tell y'all, I rolled up my rug that's been in the classroom since the beginning of the year. The first one I had 2 rugs in there. One was pink, one was navy blue. The pink one got thrown away 2 weeks ago because a kid threw up on it, and I was like, it's not worth cleaning up. Just put it in the trash, right? And then I was ready to pack things up last week. On like Tuesday, I was rolled up my carpet, ready to pack it up. And guess what I see underneath the carpet? A gigantic wet spot of a circle. And it smelled like pee. One of my kids, at some point in the year, peed themselves on the carpet and never told me. Which means there had to have been a day that year, a day this school year, where somebody's pants were just wet all day long. And there was a massive wet spot on my carpet. And no one said a thing. That's so crazy. So I just threw it away. I gotta buy new rugs for this year. Because they messed them up. I was like, y'all getting on my nerves. See, I threw away my previous rugs from my first year only because they were light colored. That was my bad. It was my first year, so I bought like these pretty light colored rugs, and they just got dirty really fast. And no matter how much I cleaned it, I couldn't seem to get the dirt off of it. So I threw those away in exchange for a more darker color rugs, only for them to mess those ones up. I was like, are you kidding me? How do you clean a rug that big? Do you send it to the dry cleaners or the steamer? I have a steam vac at home. I usually bring the rug home if it's not peed on or throw up on, at least. I bring the rug home and I put it in the I turn on my steam vac. I have a little steam vac. Steam vac, it puts like there's a mode on it where it like sends out this like cleaning stuff onto the rug, and then it pushes it into the carpet. And it makes the whole carpet wet with that. Excuse me. And then it sucks it back up and it sucks all the dirt up afterwards. That's what I've been using to clean it because I have a steam vac. But I'm not in the market for cleaning pee spots up, so that's actually why we have a steam vac. It was my parents left it here for me to use. It was for when we had an indoor dog, and this house we have a lot of carpet in this house, so we used a steam vac to help clean up like the pee from the dog. But the problem was I didn't know when that pee got there. Like the kid peed on the carpet. That could have been sitting there festering in my carpet for like months. Like I don't know when it was there. At that point I was like, I'm just throwing it in trash. Oh hey Night, how are you? I'm okay. I'm okay. my throat a little scratchy because I'm still sick, so I'm coughing a bit, but I'm okay. Alright, things I think that I did good this school year, alright? I think my teaching has gotten a lot better. Like my ability to make sure that kids are paying attention and knowing who knows what and who's missing what. And I think that's reflected in my overall scores and how my kids performed this year because they did a really good job. One thing that I love that I will be probably doing all the time was the coin economy system. Last year, before the school year started, I was constantly on stream talking about how I wanted an economy system where like kids can earn coins and then they could spend those coins in a shop. I ended up doing that this year and I loved it. I loved it. I would use Class Dojo for points, right? So they could earn points throughout the day with Class Dojo, and Thursdays were paydays. So on Thursday, I would look at how many points they had earned on Class Dojo, and I would give them that many coins. If they knew the letter of the week and they did their homework for that week, I would give them extra coins. So doing their homework for the week, that was 1 extra coin. Knowing the letter of the week, so being able to say, oh, this is letter B. B says B. B says B. That's an extra coin. So I would give out 2 extra coins in that day. And then Thursday was Friday. Thursday was coin day. Friday was shop day. Then on Friday in the morning, during math, before we start math time, so usually I teach my lesson, and then while they're doing their worksheet, I would be calling them one by one. During math time, I would call them, and they would have to come in front of me. They'd have to count out how many coins they got, right? Which teaches counting early on. It helped my kids learn how to count really fast, right? Because they wanted to buy stuff. They had to count how many coins they had, and then they could buy stuff based on how many they had. My items in my shop cost 5 coins, 7 coins, and 10 coins. So if you didn't have at least 5 coins, you could not buy anything from my shop. I say, see you again next week is how I'd say it. See you next week. All right, my shop is open up. Come on, it's time to start shopping. See you next week. Come again soon. If they buy something from me, I'd say, come again soon. It was really fun, and the kids loved it too. That's my favorite thing. I'm gonna keep doing that. Because before I was just giving out, the way I did it my first year, it was just Fridays were treasure box days. So on Fridays, I would just be like, okay, these are the kids who did a good job this week. And then I'd name random kids that I thought did a good job. And then I give them rewards. But doing that meant that some kids just never got rewards. Because the kids who acted up, well, I was like, this boy acted up all week. He ain't getting a reward. So to make it so that every kid could at least get something from my shop, at least like once or twice, I decided to do the point system. So every kid, no matter how bad their behavior was, at least got to shop at least like twice. Hopefully more than that, because I did open it up every Friday, but some kids just like hardly earned coins. I had one kid who was never here, and then when he was here, he would act up a lot. So he mostly earned like 1 coin a week. And when it cost 5 coins to buy anything, yeah, he wasn't shopping much. I don't know. I like pancakes a lot. I guess if I went to a store and you asked me like if I wanted pancakes or waffles, I'd pick pancakes. But I do like waffles too. You have to go, okay, bye, Ice Tune. Bye. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I like the coin economy. I think I'll be doing that forever. I'm probably going to have to revise when I open my shop. It was in the beginning of the day before. It might have to be, it really depends on my schedule, as to when I can fit it in. But I know other teachers do certain similar things. Like some teachers do pom-poms instead of like coins. So they earn pom-poms. And then once they get X amount of pom-poms, they can get something from the treasure box. I like having to buy things more. Although the problem with the kids buying things is that some kids are so indecisive. I had one kid who was a really good kid, but she was very outgoing, but good kid, right? So she got a lot of coins because she was always answering questions right. She was always helping others and cleaning up. So she always had a ton of coins. So when it was time for her to shop, she'd be like, I want these ones. No, actually, I want these ones. Well, actually, I'm changing mine. I was like, girl, I'm going to start putting a timer on you. Because she would take that, like, she literally would take up the entire time to the point where I just started making her go last. Like, at some point, I was like, I'm going to call every group except for hers because she's taking too long. I also started to realize that she was taking other kids' coins. And I could never tell if it was intentional or not. Because there'd be times where I hadn't given out many coins. Because there's some weeks that I just didn't give out coins often. You know, it's hard to keep up with something every single day, you know. So there were some times where I just had not kept up with the coins much. And I'm like, I did not give out coins that often this week. How do you have so many? How do you have like 20 coins on you when I only gave out like maybe 10 total to the entire class. And she'd be like, I don't know. I will watch her sometimes. I noticed that whenever some coins gone missing, like whenever someone said, oh, whose coins are these? She would pop up out of nowhere and goes, oh, those were probably mine because I had a lot of coins. And the kids would believe her and give it to her. And I think that's how she was getting coins. I think she was constantly saying that to people. Oh, well, I think this one is this because of blah, blah, blah. Oh, this has to be mine because you know, I had 10 and this looks like about 10. So these are probably mine. She would do that. And the kids would be like, oh, okay, yeah, here you go. And they would always give it to her. So she kept taking coins, and I'm not sure if she genuinely thought those were her coins, because she wasn't the lying type of kid. Like, she wasn't the type of kid to sit down and lie to you. So I don't know if those were like, if she was genuinely taking the coins without realizing that, or if she's trying to play the system. Yeah, I don't know, Bird. She wasn't a liar though. That's why I could never tell. Because they're 5 years old because they're kindergarten, and some kids quite literally, like, some kids are like just don't know. So it's hard to tell, because there are some kids that like genuinely will like take things and not realize. I have no idea though. I think she was trying to play the system though, but I never really caught her in the act, so I never really called her out on it. Because there was never like a good time where I was like, oh, well, these probably aren't your. No, that's not true. There was a few times where she was doing that, and I was like, no, why would these be your coins? You don't even sit over here. Like, she'd be on the other side of the room, like, oh, those are probably my coins. And I'm like, you don't even sit over here. Why would these be your coins? And she would go, oh. And then she'd sit back down. So yeah, she probably knew. That's the only thing. But I didn't fault her for it, because I told my kids. I straight up tell them, I'm like, when I give you coins, you need to put it away, keep it, and because they keep it in their pencil pouches. I say, you need to put it away and keep it in your pencil pouch so that nobody takes it from you. And I explained to them the beginning of the year, I say, I don't keep up with coins. So if you decide that you want to take your coins out and place them down somewhere outside of your pencil pouch, and it gets lost or it gets taken, then I'm not helping you with that. I'm not helping you, because I try to teach my kindergartners about like accountability and holding on to their own stuff, because a lot of kids will literally leave their stuff in a random spot in their room and then come back crying and whining when it disappears. I tried to like explain to my kids, I'm like, if you need to put your things back where they belong, because if they don't go back where they belong, I can't help you. And the coins was a big way I did that. I was like, also a lot of kids, because the nature of kids, they will literally take their coins out to show them to their classmates. Look at how many coins I got from Miss Cyan. They'll take them out, show them to the classmates, and then put them on their desk and show off how many coins they have. And then they'll walk away from their table with all their coins on the table that they just showed off to their friends. And then they come back and their coins are missing. And I'm like, what I tell y'all about showing off your stuff? This is your job. I'm not counting how many coins every individual has, and then trying to figure out. I said, no, you need to put your stuff up. You put your stuff up, you'll have it. You don't put your stuff up, you don't have it. It's that simple. So I never really did much about that. Whenever coins went missing, I shrug and I go, you should have put it in your pencil pouch like it's supposed to be, but you took them out. So I might have the kids keep their coins in a different spot though this year. I just haven't decided where, because when it's in their pencil pouch, they do, because they see them all the time, since it's in their pencil pouch, they do have a tendency to take them out and count them and look at them, and then they drop them on the floor, they drop them places because they're like, oh, look, I had to get a pencil, but look at how many coins I have. So next year I might have a different spot for them to put it. The problem is if you put it in a separate spot away from the kids' own stuff, so like if I had like a corner and every kid had like their own pouch so they could drop it in, the problem with that The problem with that method would be that a kid that might be a little kleptomaniac might just grab into somebody else's like pouch and steal their coins from that. That's why I kind of liked it being in the pencil pouch, since they use the pencil pouch just every day so they can keep up with their own. They see it, they know it's there. But I feel like if I put it somewhere else, and the little kleptomaniacs are gonna take them. Is there a cubby system? No, I don't have cubbies. I wish we had a cubby system. I really do. I don't. The background is so nostalgic. Oh, howdy, cowboy. Yeah, it's nostalgic because I'm a kindergarten teacher. You miss your kindergarten classes? I wish we had a cubby system. I do. I have this, in my classroom, I do have this, like, piece of furniture that has a bunch of little, like, square slots in it. You could call that a cubby. The problem is that quote-unquote cubbies are not wide enough for you to even put folders in them. Because initially I was like, well, these kids, they have all their work and they have their folders and stuff. If I could just slide their stuff in the cubby, the kids can slide their own stuff in the cubby, then everything would be, it'd be nice. They can just put all their stuff in there. I can just slide their stuff in there. Yeah, no. It's not wide enough for them to just put folders in there, so I couldn't really use that little space as something for that. So instead, that little cubby thing, I have little containers in there, and all the containers has is in it is numbered by each kid, because each kid has their own little number, the class number, and they just keep their headphones in there and their little like QR code card that helps them log into their educational app they use. That's all I keep in the buckets. But it's also important that you have extra open buckets for when you're not here. So whenever I'm absent, my kids grab their individual buckets that are like mostly empty except for some headphones, and then they put all their stuff in it for the day in it, So now they got everything and they can just carry it to their classrooms and carry it back. So, I don't know though. How are you doing at this mighty fun day? I'm okay. I got a lot of talk in me right now. I feel like I could talk for ages, but my stomach is slowly starting to hurt and I'm kind of concerned. So, I might have to end stream sooner than I expected to. Since I'm not working in this summer vacation now, I'm not on a time limit, so I can talk as long as I want to. Normally, I would have ended the stream like 30 minutes ago, but I'm free right now. But, man, my stomach is starting to get me. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. This is making me sad, because I still got stuff to talk about. But overall, I'm okay. But I feel a tummy ache brewing. I wonder if you're getting slammed by allergies. No, I'm sick. I got sick on Thursday. I'm sick. I'm genuinely sick. On Thursday, my nose got runny. My throat was really sore. And I had a headache and I had body aches and chills. I'm just coming down from that. My chills and my body aches started to let up after Saturday. And then by yesterday, it was just my throat. So now I lost my voice. So now my voice is like coming back. It's just when I talk, it makes my throat a little itchy, a little scratchy. That's why I'm still sick. It's not allergies. Now if it was like a consistent thing, that would be allergies. But no, I got beat up on Thursday. It's the final farewell from my students. They said, "Goodbye, Teacher Cyan. It's time for me to give you the ultimate goodbye." Sicknesses, because they've been getting me sick all year. But next year, I didn't get that sick this year though. Usually I get really sick from my kids. I only got sick 3 times. I got sick the day Christmas break started, which is why I hosted our winter concert with a fever this year. Hopefully this upcoming concert, because I will host the next winter one. Hopefully the next winter one I will not have a fever for. I got sick again like March and April, and then I got sick Thursday. So they will miss you. Oh, I know they will miss me. I miss them too though, so it's not one-sided. One thing I want to do better next year is focus on student volume levels. I'm not a believer of like, oh, the kids need to be absolutely silent when they work because they're 5, right? Trying to police 5-year-olds and forcing them to be dead silent 24/7 is just not it. And my kids were good pretty much for the most part this year at talking and working at the same time. The problem is they were so loud. They were very loud when they would talk this year. Hey, Motionless, welcome to Puppy Academy. I don't know why they were like so loud. So next year, I want to work on them talking quietly because that volume level this year was so bad. So bad. Next year, that's going to be my biggest focus. Like, I think I got like rules and routines down pat for the most part. My biggest issues with kids that they would not stay in their seats when they were supposed to. So I'm going to be focusing on that heavy next year. Sit down. And talking quieter. Those are my biggest things. That was driving me insane this school year. The amount of people it was because they kept trying to yell and talk to each other across the room. I'm like, dude, he's all the way over there. Stop yelling. And then sometimes kids don't know their own volumes. So they could literally be sitting right in front of somebody and be yelling and screaming across the room. Like, as if they're sitting across the room. I'm like, dude, they're sitting right there. Why are you so loud? Like, it's kind of insane. I say that, but I was that kid. I was that kid. Like, my dad used to tell me that I would be yelling and screaming and being way too loud. My dad always said to me, he said, do you even have an inside voice? And I'm like, oh, whoopsie, my bad. Do you even have an inside voice? Oh, sorry. I do have an inside voice. I just don't like to use it. I was weird. I was a weird case because only when I was inside my house, I'm still the same way, so I can't say I was. I am a weird case because when I'm in the comfort of my own home, I have no sense of volume. Like, I am just loud 24/7. But when I am in public, then I'm like so quiet you can't hear me. I'm practically whispering. I'm like, you're better than my teacher. She said shut up in Spanish whenever we would talk too loud during free time. That's crazy. I don't know. I know it's the standard to have your kids like, fall in line, be obedient little soldiers, fall in line, kiddos, and don't talk ever. I know that's like the norm, but like that's like what's looked up on, that they expect that. I don't like that. I don't know. You should learn opera metal. That's so random. Why would I learn opera metal? Why? So I can break my throat even more than it's already broken? Powerful voice? Oh, yeah. I do have a powerful voice when I want to. I just peeked my microphone. So I know I got a powerful voice. Powerful voice. It is the summer, though. You might see some song covers come out because I can't really sing during the school year because my throat is always a little bit sore. I'm a little tired from talking all the time. From talking for 7 hours straight, projecting my voice, to coming home and then streaming for like 3 more hours. My throat and my voice are always so tired. But now that it's the summer, my voice is going to start to clear up. I'm going to start sounding very clear. People are going to come to my stream and say, wow, Cyan, you sound a little different like they do every year. And I'm like, yeah, I sound like my voice isn't being lost from teaching. So my voice is going to start sounding a lot more clear and a lot softer because it gets time to heal during the summer. Goodness gracious, do I overuse it. If I was not a teacher, I would be leaning very heavily into the idol aspect of being a VTuber. Meaning I would be dropping song covers constantly. I probably would have joined an idol VTuber group by now. Like, if I was not a teacher, I would be so into that. I love singing. I love singing so much. It's so fun. I sing around the house 24/7. Kotaro gets so tired of it. I love singing, but I cannot try to make a career out of that because I need to save my voice while I'm, not teaching. So even sometimes when I keep my streams relatively short, 2.5 hours when I'm like during the school year, but a lot of that is like also to rest my voice. Because I'm even sick right now. I've noticed the longer I talk on the stream, the more like scratchy my throat gets. And the more I'm starting to cough. That's okay, I got water. And that's what water's for. Also, there's going to be an ad break. A 3-minute ad break in 1 minute. During that time, I'm going to put on the be right back screen. I got one last thing I want to talk about when I come back. I want to talk about the thing that's on my throne wish list, because I do have a throne wish list. There's a lot of stuff up here, but I've never talked about it. My throne wish list is all stuff trying to raise money for my classroom, and I never talk about it. And I have a bunch of activities up there that I want to talk about, like what I use them for and like why. Because I'm pretty sure some of y'all are probably curious too, like why is this on her throne wish list? What's she gonna use this for, you know? So I do want to talk about my throne. In the future, I do plan on doing like some sort of like subathon, thronathon thingy thing to raise money for my classroom. But we'll talk when I get back, okay? Be right back, y'all. 3-minute ad break. See you in 3 minutes. Wait, did the ads play already? Was that it? That was a really fast 3 minute. I felt like I breathed, and then the ad break was over. Hello? I literally had to double check Twitch. I was like, did the ads play? That was really fast. I looked up and I didn't see like the ads are coming soon thing, and I was like, what happened? What happened? But I do. Wow, welcome to Puppy Academy Fracture. You were my 3,600%. We met our follower goal. Yippee! Come on, y'all. I wanted to talk about the things that are on my throne wish list, because I add stuff up here all the time, but I never talk about what's up here. I even added a bunch of like new categories and stuff. Stay with me because this might look messy. What we got up here? Oh, we got me in a box in the corner. All right. I didn't know what to expect on this screen. I didn't prepare the screen by the way. I didn't prepare the screen in advance, by the way. I hope that doesn't. I'm gonna be on this side. I hope it doesn't bother y'all too much. I'm gonna try to make it less awkward. But we got background music, so as long as we got background music, nothing will ever be awkward. It's only the times where you don't got background music you gotta worry about, you know what I mean? There it is. Let's cut this part off. We can leave the URL though. Yeah. That's me. Who's that? That's Cyan. Woo woo. Best dog on the planet. Yeah, I've never talked about my throne and what's up here. You're just dropping by. Hey, just dropping by. I hope. Goodness gracious. I'm a wreck right now. I just started coughing, and then the coughing triggered a burp. All right, let's talk, because I never talk about my throne. And there's a lot of stuff up here that I feel like people are like, wait, teachers need this? What does a teacher need this for? And I want to explain them. All right. Hey, Shadow. Hey. We got watercoloring paint. Fun fact. Something I really love. It is part of the kindergarten curriculum, at least at my school. It is part of our, oh, I didn't mean to move that, I meant to move me. It is part of our kindergarten curriculum to watercolor paint. It's built into our curriculum. The problem is, we didn't have any more paint. So this year, my kids did not get to paint, and it made me really upset. Because my kids last year, they gave us one set of paint. And my kids last year, you know, every year kids are gonna mess up the paint, right? Like, you know, they accidentally miss colors and they do other stuff. They messed up some of my paint, so I had to throw away a lot. So I didn't have enough for a whole class to paint anymore. So this year, when the curriculum came up, where they're supposed to draw their own picture, go over it with like a black Sharpie, and then paint the stuff, I didn't have any paint. I just didn't have any paint, and I'm not spending any more on my classroom. Every year I spend $500 to $1,000 on my classroom, and after I spend that money, I'm not buying anything else. So, because that's a lot of money to be spending when I don't make that much I don't make a lot of money anyways as a teacher. Yeah, so we just didn't paint. I borrowed some paints for a day. If you get a hand puppet, will we see it on the stream? Oh, that's a fun idea. I don't know. I get a little nervous when it comes to webcam stuff, because I'm afraid the webcam's gonna slip and fall. You're gonna see my face. Maybe I'd have to think about the best way to go about doing that. I would. Especially because the way this room's set up too. If Kotaru walks by me in the background to get to his things, I don't know. My room ain't really webcam-esque, so probably not. I had to think about it. I don't know. But yeah, we didn't get a chance to paint this year, and I got sad, so I added it to my. I added like a lot of this stuff to like this a few weeks ago. So I added paint because we didn't have any. Finger puppets. The first unit in kindergarten is teaching them how to play. It teaches them how to play in a respectful manner. It teaches them how to play while still sharing and being kind to each other, and offering to play with people that you don't normally play with. And so having finger puppets would be nice. So I put the finger puppets up here. It'd be a nice thing to do. Also, I put 2 up here because one could go in the treasure box for kids to buy, and then the other set we can use in the classroom. This puppet I put up here, it's crowdfunded because it's kind of an expensive puppet. I think it was like, yeah, it's $70. It's quite an expensive puppet. I put it up here because if you, which page was I on page 2 on accident? I probably was on the wrong. I was probably on page 2. I was on page 2. I put this up here because if you ever taught kindergarten and little kids, you know that they love puppets. And I want to have a puppet like friend that I teach with, so that I can teach them concepts with the puppet. Because I watched a really, really good teacher do that. Like, they acted out everything. Like, their puppet was like all the things you shouldn't do. So like their puppet was a troublemaker. So they would constantly be teaching the kids the rules using the puppet. And so like the puppet would hit the teacher. And then the teacher would be like, oh, was that nice? And the class would be like, no. And it was the cutest thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to teach with a puppet now. I have to. So I put that on the throne. And I put descriptions under a lot of the stuff. What is put? Teacher puppet, used for demonstrations, educational games, and small group. Oh yeah, definitely small groups. It'd be so fun to have a little puppet to play with. This is just for storing material. I got so much materials in my classroom. It'd be nice to be able to store them in little bags. This is for paper cutting. So one of my coworkers, she uses this as a paper tray. So when it's time for them to cut and glue stuff, instead of these kids accidentally gluing the table and cutting all their papers up, getting paper all over the place, she teaches them to grab a tray and cut over the tray so that the tray catches all the papers. And it's the most genius thing. So now there's no longer like a massive mess because they have a tray and they can cut over the tray. And I love that. This drawer is for storage. I don't have a lot of storage in my class. I literally have like 4 small bookshelves and that's all I got. So this is so I could store stuff. This is for math. This would be a math small group thing. They get like an ice cream cone. It has 6 on it and they have to make like a link of 6 of them. It's just a math thing. It's a bunch of stickers for my, just for kids doing a good job. These are chair pockets. In kindergarten, they don't have the normal desk that you can put stuff in. So instead, I usually get chair pockets to put on the back of the chair. The problem is the chair pockets that I buy are Dollar Tree ones. They're really, really like paper thin. They're practically made out of plastic. They don't even weigh enough to stay on the back of the chair. So they're constantly on the floors. Kids are slipping on them and stuff. Cause they're cheap. They're like, I buy the $1 ones. They constantly get holes in it. It rips. They're terrible. So I put better chair pockets up here. This is for handwriting practice for the kids who still don't understand handwriting. Once we're further in the year, and the rest of the kids can write words, and you got a few just can, then I start handing these stuff like this out to the kids. This is for learning about the letter of the week. When it's time for us to learn about the letter of the week, I can put this out so we can do our reading of our sentence. We could do our tracing practice with our finger, and then we get words that go with that letter. So I like this one. I have a coworker that actually has this chart in her classroom. Hey, Zevruna! I have a coworker that has this chart in her classroom. These would be for science. Science asks for them to do a lot of drawings and stuff, and we don't have a lot of paper in the classroom. Remember at the beginning of this stream where I said that we don't get unlimited paper to print on? Yeah, that also means we don't get unlimited paper to use in the classroom. So when it comes for stuff like science and stuff, if they're supposed to have like their own journals and stuff, it doesn't work out too well because we're on a paper limit. Same thing for handwriting paper. This is just really useful to have. I had a bunch and I used it all, so I just put some more up here. This is the most useful paper you can have. Broom, so kids can clean up their own mess. I have 1 mini broom, but having more than 1 is very useful. Only having 1 takes forever when kids don't know how to sweep well anyway. One of the late night shows uses the folk mini puppets. Oh, that sounds fun. Play-Doh mats, yes, we get Play-Doh every year for our class, so making alphabets with Play-Doh. Well, we get the off-brand Play-Doh, which means all the Play-Doh dries out and gets messed up after literally like a month of use. It's really bad. These are microphones. These would be talking sticks. What I put when students are talking to each other in small groups, we use talking sticks to make sure they take turns. Yeah, currently the talking sticks are just thick straws. I literally just hand my kids straws and I say, this is your talking stick. But like, if they had an actual microphone, like a little fake microphone I'm talking to, that'd be nice. That'd be so much nicer. But their talking sticks are literally like a straw. I literally hand them a straw and I'm like, if you have this straw, then you talk into the straw. Pretend it's a microphone. So it'd be nice to have actual microphone. Dry erase part things. These are okay. I actually am gonna remove this, to be honest. I have those and they for some reason the marker doesn't come off, so honestly it's better to use sheet protectors than the pockets, because you can easily replace a sheet protector, but those pockets, this is for me, for when I need to carry stuff. It's nice to have one of these. These are recording buckets, so like when it's time for small groups and these kids at a different table, having this would be nice to record what they're supposed to do. Also, when it comes to the letter of the week, I seen another teacher that's next door to me. She puts this out in the hallway and it says like, A says ab, and the kids have to tell you the letter, and if they don't know what the letter of the week is, they have to press the button and it tells them, and they have to repeat it. So that's nice. It's just a puzzle small group activity thing. Same thing. This is a big resource small group activity thing. This would be nice. I would use this for everything. Yeah, that checks out. I would literally use this for everything. You can put anything on this little magnet board. I have magnetic letters in my classroom, but I don't have any magnetic board. So I literally have magnet letters for no reason, and they just sit there. And I'm like, it'd be nice to have a magnetic board and they can make the words on the board. That'd be nice. This again for handwriting practice. Give it to kids who struggle. This was also, what's in there? It says alphabet match. Yeah, this is for small group stuff too. Color match, yeah. This is for treasure box. This is fun, just for treasure box. This is what I added this week. I added this like literally like last week before school started. Meow. This is just labels. This is not the box. It's just labels to go around the classroom so the kids know where things are. I can always make my own labels, but I'm lazy. And we don't have a color printer at my job. You can't print anything in color, by the way. We can only print black and white. This is for decoration, decoration, decoration. This is because my classroom is moldy. All right, let me be real. Every class in my school is moldy because I work in an old school and it smells like it. This would be to make the room not smell like mold. If this is one of those things where if it doesn't get bought on my throne, I'm probably gonna buy it myself. Cause I'm tired of smelling the classroom smell. And what's crazy is it didn't smell like that when I first moved into the classroom, but last year, for some reason, the entire school became incredibly humid, and I think because the inside of the school has been humid for 2 years now, I think it's causing mold to be in the classroom, because that's what happens when you get humidity. So it's kind of nasty, and literally it's really gross. So I'm trying to at least mask the smell. So this is one of those things where like if this doesn't get bought when I do my Thronathon someday, then so be it, man. Pencil grippers for the kids who can't hold pencils properly. Alphabet chart. Another broom. This is a big broom. This is a broom from me. Pencil pouches. I'm gonna have to, this is another thing, like if I don't get this I'm gonna have to buy this for myself too, because we use pencil pouches. And then basic class supplies, erasers, pencils, colorful pencils for the treasure box. I don't have many of my own books, so I wanted to build my own book library. Like the Recess Queens are really, I like the Recess Queen. It's a really nice story about what it's like to be a bully. Like this girl, she's a bully. She's the Recess Queen. She bullies everybody. And no one wants to be her friend because of it. And nobody likes her. But then someone decides to finally be nice to her. And she gets a friend. And now she's no longer a bully. Hey, Eliana, how are ya? So I'm gonna build a classroom library. This is more class materials. No, the school does not provide class materials. People keep asking me to like, Cyan, why do you need pencils? Don't they give you, they do give you stuff, but they don't give you a lot of it. So yes, your school will give you pencils and erasers, but you will run out of it really fast. Like we ran out of glue sticks at lightning speed. I need glue sticks so bad because kids don't know how to use glue sticks properly. You're good. I'm great. I'm a little sick, but I'm okay. Magnetic board, because like I said, I have a magnetic board, but I have letters, but I don't have a magnetic board. So even a mini board would be nice. Some more books. This is a rug. Oh, that sounds scared to me. That was so loud. Welcome to Puppy Academy. My alert was so loud. Only I can hear the alert. So, hey, Timmy. Timmy, I didn't see your message. How did I not see your message, Timmy? Hey, how are you, Timmy? Remember how I said a kid peed on my rug and it had to get thrown away? Because I don't know how long the pee was up there. Yeah, so I put a rug up here for my classroom since I had to throw away both rugs that were in my room. It's kind of sad. We looked at these already. I think once you get page 3, it starts going. Yeah, this is just stuff I put up here years ago. So I don't have too many classroom things up here, but timers for the students to have at their desk. Sometimes kids that are special needs need separate timers that you can put in front of them so they know when like an activity is done, basically, you know. Like some kids, they function based on schedules, and having a timer in front of them allows them to see said schedule, right? We got these. This is another math activity. They gotta match the number key to the lock so they can open the lock. This is an erase dice. You can put anything on this one. These are fun, dry erase dice. You could literally make up a game one random afternoon and write some stuff on the side of a dice and they gotta do it. I like that. Fishing for magnet letters. Oh, fish me the letter R. They gotta fish me the letter R. That's a fun one. Kids love that. This is just for comfort for the class. Little desk for kids to play with. This would be like the utmost highest reward. But I think this was expensive, which is why it's crowdfunded. Yeah. That one's expensive though. So oh no, I lost a page. We were on page 3. Do. Oh, I can't sing. My throat's still bothering me. Another learning activity. Swat the sight word. Hit the word blue, and they got bonk the word blue. They gotta find it and they gotta swat it. Sending a little fidget pop thing. It has little letters on it, and you gotta pop all the letters. Make the word fox. Pop, fox. That's a fun one. These are privacy folders for cheating. I got a lot of cheating problems in my classroom. I mean, but they're 5. They're gonna cheat. They'd be like, I don't know what to do. They want to copy everybody. It's just for cheating. As of right now, when it comes to testing time, I just move kids as far away from each other as possible. That's all I really can do. What I like to do that's really funny that my coworkers think I'm like silly for doing. At some point you learn your kids, right? You learn your students. You learn who cheats and who doesn't. So I always tell my coworkers, are like, man, this kid's always cheating off of this person, cheating off of this person. I'm like, yeah. You know what I do to prevent cheating? I take all of my kids who I know cheat and I put them at the same table when it's time to test. So they're all looking at each other, waiting for each other to answer the questions first. They're always looking at each other and constantly waiting for each other to answer the question first. And they're all doing that, so no one ever ends up answering anything. And those kids, well, it's kindergarten. They don't get a bad grade. Instead, I have to pull them to my table at a small group and try to get some answers out of them. But I know who cheats, and I always put them together so that I at least know that they're not cheating off their classmates, you know. I'd rather them have an empty paper and I have to work with them one-on-one through the test than for them to be copying their classmates. My coworkers always think that's the silliest thing when I tell them that, and I'm like, well, what else would you do with a cheater? You move them all to the same table. In my head, I'd be like, you cheat, you're a cheater. All right, you 4, you're all going to be testing on the carpet, or you're all going to be at this side table over here. That's what I do it. Silly works well with the kindergarten teacher. It does. So yeah, this is a nice poster. I like it. We're going to do our daily affirmations with it. The power of yet. I'm gonna be pointing at this poster all year long. Don't tell me you can't do it. You can't do it yet, though. So we're going to work towards it. I'll be pointing at this poster all day long. And then Play-Doh. because the Play-Doh they give us sucks and it doesn't work half the time. And then some more crayons, but can't have a kindergarten without crayons. This bubble mishy, oh, this was for me, but I could use it for my classroom too. And then this is the rest of the throne. This is the stuff I put in here ages ago. I don't really care about most of this stuff. I gotta go through, except for this, it's kind of cute. I gotta go through and change this other stuff because I don't need this either, honestly. I don't live with my parents anymore. That was for when I lived with my parents and I was like, I really want my parents to know when I'm streaming so they don't come in and disturb me. But now I'm with Kotaru. He knows that I'm streaming. He knows that if I'm staring at my computer and talking up a storm, then I'm probably streaming. Because I'm not talking to myself. At least I'm not that crazy. I might be a little bit crazy, but I'm not like talk to myself level crazy, you know. Maybe like 2% crazy. This is cute though. These are so cute. I still want them. I probably had to go up a size though, cause once Kotaru moved in, I started gaining weight. I ain't gonna lie. That man keeps feeding me, keeps giving me food. The cute stickers though, they can stay. I like stickers. What do I got down here? I haven't looked at these. This little robot is so cute. I love this guy, but he's so expensive, right? Yeah, 150. But he's a little cutie. I'm gonna keep him up there. He's a little cutie. He cutie patootie. He a cutie patootie. Honestly, my throw would be like 90% empty if I didn't have classroom stuff up here, because I don't personally have a lot of wants. Like, there's not a lot of things that I want in life. Not a lot of physical things, at least. Most of the stuff that I want are like VTubing related. Honestly, it's kind of sad, I guess you could say. But most of my wants are from things I want for my job and things I want for VTubing. Like I want a bunch of extra stuff for my job so that my job can be easier, but also so the kids can have more fun too. And then I want stuff for my VTubing stuff so that it can look better on stream and we can have a more fun time. So I don't know. That's why my throne's the way it is. I be clicking on people's thrones and I'd be like, what do y'all be wanting on your throne? What do y'all be having up there? There'd be a lot of like, oh, I want this character. I want this other thing. And I'm over here like, oh, that's cool. All I want is some classroom materials. So that's my throne. I'll probably go over it again in the future because, like I said, before the school year starts, I do plan on doing a thronathon, a little push to get some classroom supplies. Because I have a lot of classroom supply stuff on my throne. And a lot of stuff, like, is going to end up coming out of my own pocket because I'm going to end up buying stuff. More than necessary things, like the notebooks and the papers, the pencil pouches, stuff like that. Those are probably going to get bought by me. I don't have any more name tag badge holders, so I'm going to need those. I'm not going to share them no more, though. I bought a bunch of those, but because I had so many, everyone kept asking me for some. And then, yeah, I had like bought a pack of like 1,000, and all 1,000 got gone. All 1,000 of them disappeared because I was sharing so much. But anyways, y'all, it's time to end the stream. I yapped and I yapped and I yapped. Now it's time for me to do my housewife duties, for I am a housewife this summer. I'm not doing anything else this summer, so I gotta be a housewife. I gotta make sure the house is all cleaned up before Kotaru gets home, so he can come home to a nice house since I'm not working. That's my job. That's my job, to be a content creator and a housewife. So let's see who's live that I'm following. Oh, quite a few people. Any RaMe people? No, but we have quite a few people. We will raid. This is a hard pick. There's 3 very say-so streamers. 4 very say-so streamers live. See you! Yeah, bye-bye! We've rated Dino Nuggy a lot. Amaya is live right now. Is she still singing? Yeah, she's singing. We're gonna raid Amaya. She used to be in RaMe before she went her own way. So we'll raid Amaya. She used to be RaMe, so she's practically still RaMe. Like I said in all of my streams, sayonara. Hope you have a good day. My next stream, it will be Wednesday. I'll be playing Pokopia, okay? Same time. My forever stream time this summer will be 11 a.m. Okay, so I will be streaming 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Okay, y'all. Give Ame lots of love. Okay, bye bye.